Hello, Susan.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this message. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy frickin' Saturday. It's the day of the week that we turn back our clocks for the evening show to the afternoon in the Pacific Northwest to bring Disclosure Tonight to the usual time of the UK time as we come together to talk about those things that the government won't, to talk about those things from science fiction, to go ahead and talk about those things, well, yes, we know from the X-Files, and sometimes you can go outside and see those above your house some evenings. Yes, what are we talking about? We're talking about UFOs. We can still call them UFOs here on Disclosure Tonight. Why? Because there's a word for it every single language around the world, and why change it up? This is only for the lawyers. This is only for the DOD to continue their lies, to continue their misinformation and disinformation, and keeping it from coming out into the public. How do we know this? Well, they've been having a war going on for over 75 years against the phenomena, trying to take everything away. Everything we see is military. None of it's science. None of it's a humanitarian welcome message. No, it's about ripping that technology out of their hands, tearing it away from their dead bodies as necessary to go ahead and create their weapons of war. Yes, it's a sad situation, but as time goes on, well, you better believe it. The government's waking up. They're getting more aware of those things in the sky that they used to like to go ahead and just call out as Chinese drones, because now they have Chinese drones coming in, or Chinese balloons, or whatever it may be. We're actually going in and trying to take them out of the air, which is a major shift in our United States policy from the bozos in the White House and the DOD. It's an interesting situation of where this is going to go, but I can guarantee that Disclosure Tonight will be here to cover it and to bring you the latest and greatest information. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Disclosure Tonight. Gary, how the hell are you, my friend? I guess he's not there. Either way, welcome everybody. Let me, where did he go? There we go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Let's go ahead and welcome in our viewers to the show, shall we? As I close down that little pop-out screen. Metal Gaming is in the show. Metal Gaming is the first tonight. Am I the first again? 2 bags of coffee for me, Mr. Fessler. Oh, me now. Yes, I'm loving kisses to you as well. Metal Gaming all the way across the pond over in Denmark. Welcome, my friend. Thanks for coming in tonight. Owen from Ohio. Yes, one official told ABC News that the object was cylindrical and silverish gray and gave the balloon-like appearance of floating without any sort of propulsion, except when they float, you're not able to go ahead and fly along with them with an F-22, which is supposedly what they used to go ahead and observe them a couple times before they blew them out of the air, and then going and bringing in some good old helicopters to go ahead and try and recover whatever they shot down from the frozen ice patch up there. Yes, it might be an ocean north of Alaska, but this time of year, it's usually frozen. Let's see what they get, huh? Or better yet, what they're going to tell us. Gray Troll, good to see you. Hi, everyone. Long time no see. Absolutely. Jonathan, 80 ho, good to see you as well, my friend. Who else do we have out the audience? Yes, I think Gray Troll. There was IR something or another used to come along, always following Great Troll, but great to see you back anyway, my friend. Who else do we have out there in the audience? Let's take a look and see. We've got Yellow Tommy Tanker, also known as Andy. Happy Saturday, DT family. Interesting times are afoot. What a great show last night. More of the same today. Absolutely. We've got a bunch of great stuff to cover. Even if we run out of things to talk about on this, trust me, I've got plenty of things for us to go towards today. Kelly Barote, good to see you with those piercing blue eyes. Were you here last night, Kelly? I think you were. If not, thanks for coming back again today. The Observer's around. Saturday. It's my favorite day. Hope everyone is well. Well, I'm feeling okay. Hopefully you are as well. I've got a little cupcake camping out on the bed right next to me. She's been up for the last couple hours, tromping around the backyard, having a fun time. That's actually more of the back forest. Feigenschau 87. Good to see you, my friend. Always wonderful. LM. Oh, great. Another high-altitude object over northern Canada. NORAD is tracking. What the heck is going on? Oh, yeah, those things they always used to go ahead and ignore. They're actually paying attention to these days. Who would have thought? Super Unknown is right. Happy freaking Saturday, everybody. Have a great show as always, Thomas. Thank you, Super Unknown. Great to have you back around again, as well as Rach Spiel. Well, it's a little bit earlier than usual today, and you changed your icon. Good to see you, Rach. Thor Panchow, good to see you. Panku, I'm probably slaughtering it. I'm from the Midwest. That's okay. We're allowed to do that there. Oh, who else do we have in the audience? Lori Oliphant, hello. Or hi-yo, all. Hope all are well and happy this day. Absolutely. Who else do we have in the audience? Around Gray Troll is spreading some love. Peggy with Crockett and Tubbs. Happy Saturday. Fesslerites. Good to see you, Peggy. Absolutely. On that note, hey, Google, what's the temperature in Florida?
In Miami, it's currently 79 degrees.
79 degrees, mostly sunny, high of 81, but a low of 69, dudes. Enjoy it, Peggy, Crockett, and Tubbs. You and your great cats have a great day. And don't forget to go out tonight and look up. You never know what's going to be over Florida. A lot of sightings down there. Absolutely. Jonathan, Thomas Fessler, there's a new one in Canada. Oh, God. Gary, start looking, please, or somebody start looking. We'll get there soon, or someone put a link into the chat, and we'll go ahead and bring it up. Just got to watch out for that music that plays. Yeah, I got snacked last night from that little news, one of the news clips from BBC News. Yeah, BBC, you know what that stands for. Something that you don't want to deal with afterwards, I tell you. Shitty situation, I tell you. Who else do we have out there? Oh, Shelley Montgomery, Hell's Bells, Shell Bell, haha, Thor. It's a good one, Adele and Mark Bromley. Good to see you. Hopefully Mom is doing okay. Is your daughter all set up, looking nice to go on the show today? We don't have a guest today, so feel free to stop in. Who else do we have out there in the audience right now? Let's see. Shelley Montgomery, Angela G. Hey, Shelley. Good, thanks. Sunday morning here in New Zealand. Getting ready for a storm coming through soon. It's a great place. Yeah, there's a good guy in New Zealand. His name is Marty T. I don't know if you've ever seen him on YouTube. He lives off the grid, has a fun time going and finding old tractors and bulldozers and a whole bunch of great equipment that apparently you need to keep your place up and going in New Zealand. Great guy to go and visit sometimes when you're looking for something different. Who else do we have out in the audience? Let's take a look. Grip Ripper! Hello to all you Fesslerites and UFOnians. Well, that's a good one. I can deal with that as long as you don't put a G.
Hello, I'm back from the bathroom. Hello, everyone.
Oh, you're back. He's back.
I didn't even check to see what the hell
Yes.
I'd just burst in because I like to make an entrance.
Yes, you do. Talking about making an entrance. Right now, believe it or not, at the same time, the Moron Show is going on right now, but we're not going to be watching that. We're back in our studio, so...
Expect a round of applause because there's nothing I enjoy more than a warm hand upon my entrance.
Wound. That's spanking, not applause. But you want some applause? Oh, wrong one. Okay, audience, come on, be nice.
I think you'll find boos are cheers from Ghost.
There you go. The whole audience, we got everybody to welcome you in, Gary.
Anyway, go on.
Thanks for coming in.
Whatever it is you do now. Go on, off you go.
Sully is here. Why is that name familiar? Where do I know Sully from? Someone remind me.
Monsters, Inc.
Oh, that's it. Thank you much, Gary. I appreciate that. Yes, and your expert eye trying to warn us yesterday that video was not real. Yeah, I know. It's amazing how people can take video footage from something like 9 years ago from a video game and say, oh my God, look, it's an alien autopsy. I have to give it to that game, though. It's one of the best faked alien autopsy videos that we've seen yet.
It's a good one, but it was just too similar to the other one, and there was no sense in filming the guy.
Except they actually had gook and they were pulling down and had feet moving back and forth and the whole thing. It was interesting. But apparently I've heard, you've seen those dried up ET aliens from down in Peru that they found out in the caves and stuff like that. Apparently those may be more real than we actually realize.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Can we have them as pets?
Oh, we will. I've had some inside information on that one, and also some inside information about this one. I got an interesting call last night saying, sounds like they shot down a Tic Tac, but they're going to cover it up, and they're shooting a video to try and make believe it's something else. But we'll see where all of this goes. Florence Tracy, hello, Mom. How you doing? Good to see you here tonight. It was great having you call in with your granddaughter. I think that's your granddaughter down there, who was maybe all dressed up and ready for last night for the show herself. Thanks for coming in, Florence. Hope you're feeling better, and I hope they've got your blood pressure under control so you're a bit more stable. We're all worried and praying for you, definitely. Always great. I always look forward to Saturday when you can be a part of the show. Amiga Rules, hi all. Happy afternoon, yes. Amiga Rules over the Atari 520 ST. Great battles these days. Holy cow. David Wartsky, Mr. Wartsky, how the hell are you? Mr. Catfish 2100 saying hello, and I'll say back, yerpity yerp yerp. Good to see you, my friend. Grip Ripper is around along with Digger Dog. Good afternoon, all from the left coast. Yes, I am from the northwest left coast. I think you're from the north middle left coast, but welcome, Digger Dog. Thanks for coming in to today's show. Who else do we have out there in the audience? Let's take a look.
Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Just got a breaking news alert.
Hold on.
Trudeau orders takedown of an unidentified object in Canadian airspace.
Oh, breaking news. Holy cow. That
is coming
is
through on my Sky News alerts.
And his Twitter, Justin Trudeau's Twitter says,
yes, I can confirm. It's coming across on the old trusty dot matrix printer. Right. Trudeau orders, bad eyes here, too far, takedown of another unidentified object over Canada. Interesting to say the least. Let's get back into that. Do you have an article on that, Gary? Or is that on the news?
It's on the news, but the only thing they've said is Justin Trudeau has ordered a takedown of an unidentified object that has violated Canadian airspace. The country's prime minister tweeted that both Canadian and US aircraft are scrambled.
Slow.
That's all that there is at the moment, but I'll keep an eye on the news.
Yes, AVM is saying the intergalactic wars have started. Does this mean they're going to start taking down all unidentified flying objects that are over our ships, over our sovereign territory? Because
the thing is, though, because of that balloon, they're all keeping an eye out for another balloon, and now they're seeing all the shit that's up there.
Oh, all the stuff that's normally been up there on a daily basis, and they've been ignoring and saying, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Oz has spoken. Yeah. Gary has spoken in this one. Let's go ahead and get back to welcoming everybody
I've
in.
been really useful the past couple of days, haven't I? I've actually
yes, amazing how some burgers
I know.
can make a difference.
I know, right?
Thomas,
The piling up of the Burger Fund has finally started.
West is communicating. Do you have an Auntie Kitty? She's trying to contact you. No, sorry, this is
slow
West.
down.
West.
Take a deep breath, and remember, the faster we talk, the more difficult it is for people to understand.
That's nice, but West is trying to say something.
can you hear us, Thomas?
Oh, we can hear you.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes. I was just going to say, to add on to what Gary just broke, Justin Trudeau's official Twitter feed has more information. He says that I ordered the takedown of an unidentified object that violated Canadian airspace. NORAD command shot down the object over the Yukon. Canadian and U.S. aircraft were scrambled, and a U.S. F-22 successfully fired at the object. I spoke with President Biden this afternoon. Canadian forces will now recover and analyze the wreckage of the object. Thank you to NORAD for keeping watch over North America.
Justin, who? That wasn't my son's laptop. What are you talking about? But yes. Interesting. It's heating up. Did we ever think we'd get to this point? Well, maybe they're going to start doing this against actual UFOs. We'll figure out what all this stuff is because, yes, they've had helicopters going in and trying to grab this one. Let's figure out what this open as the news is actually piling in around us. What a great Saturday. Holy cow. Let's see who else we have out there. Ryan Smethurst. Wow, Ryan. They must be Dave's brother, Dave's son, Dave's dad. They won't ever fess if it is or is not a balloon. That's true.
The thing that stands out to me the most is the fact that when it was a balloon, they went, it's a balloon. But now they're not saying anything.
No, they're not, are they, Gary? That's
And
not
also,
nice, isn't it?
Props for Robbie the robot there on that avatar. Good old Robbie.
No.
It is Robbie, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it is. Let's take a look. Yes, Robbie the robot is there from Ryan. Yes. Robbie is great. He's wonderful. But I just have a thing for the robot from Lost in Space. Maybe it was the voice. I don't know. We'll figure it all out as time goes on. As our frame rate drops. There we go. We're back again. OBS. Gotta love it on a Mac. My God, it is such a freaking pig. Holy cow. But that's okay. Great troll. You know, I have a Mac Studio Ultra, and OBS just freaking pegs this thing to where you can barely make 60 frames a second. But that's all right. Larry Gerndt is in the chat. And he's not in the back, but Larry is good to see you, Larry. Absolutely. Craig T Music. Hey, everyone. Good to see you. I need to move forward. Holy cow. Let's start getting through this. Ben Phillips, Heidi T. Good to see you, everybody. Bill H. all the way from Discord. Remember, we do have a Discord here. Bill, drop the link if you were interested in continuing the conversation.
I keep forgetting to check it. I'm in like 700 Discords and I keep forgetting to check ours.
Yeah. I leave that for the fans. I could go there, but I don't have a lot of time. And I do like to have some time off to chill in the evening to catch up on all those hours of television that I didn't watch for the last 30-something years of being a game developer and software architect and all that kind of fun stuff. Mr. Adam Weissman. Disclosure is the biggest threat to vulture capitalism. Maybe. It's more like imperialism, but we call it capitalism. But that's all right because there's still that middleman in the way to make money off the government and off the people, and they get way too rich. We'll have to figure that one out eventually, maybe. Wildcat Mahone, let's go. We're going. James the Friday the 13th. Clayton, hi from Canada. Yes, we can blame Canada, Justin Trudeau, for shooting down this one. Now, is it another Chinese balloon, or are we shooting down UFOs? What are we blowing out of the skies? Come on, they need to share some video of this.
I'm sorry, can I just interrupt one last time? Can you lower your quality settings backstage to me? Because that will help you out on the stream, because it's juddering a lot back here. It's not doing it as much on the stream, but it is for me. So I thought if you lower the quality settings, because I don't need the full quality while you're doing this.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
It might help you out a bit.
No, it's OBS rendering. If it's doing it, I can go ahead. Is it really getting bad on the stream, guys? Are you guys seeing a lot of...
No, the stream seems to be all right. It's just occasional on the stream. But back here, you're freezing for seconds at a time. So that's why I just said to lower it down here.
How does it look to the people in Google chat land? West, Andy, is it looking steady for you?
Fine for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. We're good. We're good.
One more quick suggestion, Thomas. I don't know if this is something you can do, but since this is now starting to break on all the major news networks,
yes,
can you update the title of the show on YouTube so that people can find us more easily and know that this is a place where we're discussing it?
Gary can. You change the title of the show if
Thanks, you want. West.
Sorry.
Gary does have God mode on the back end. What am I? Right. What have I done? Oh, breaking story or developing story. Canada shoots down UFO. Second UFO.
And that is accurate since Trudeau called it another unidentified object.
Yes. I get Trudeau. No, it wasn't him. It was his people, Canada. Yes. If we get into a war with the non-human intelligence, we can really, for once, because maybe they actually shot down a real UFO and the United States shot down one from China. You never know where it's going to go. Come on. Where in the hell is Elon Musk? Oh, we're not going to allow you to weaponize
There we go.
Starlink.
I've changed it.
Thank you, sir. You can't change the graphics because I do that as well. Yeah, I do the title cards. I do the graphics. I do the everything you see in here.
I can actually change the graphics, and if you would like a picture of Pamela Anderson on there, I would be more than happy to help you.
Can you? Oh, I can use Google Earth to see where the wreckage is. Yes. Oh God, let me try and get through this. Kelly Burrow, you better believe it. AVM, good to see you. Tony D, Lex Diaz, TomsRiver.org. Yes. Adele and Mark, of course. Laura, you better believe it. Sprung Monkey, hey from Scotland. Good to see you up in Scotland. Yeah, you've got the Loch Ness up there and a bunch of other deep ones where some UFOs could be hiding as well. Ken Kitchen. Any relation to Gary by chance? Not Gary, but Gary Kitchen, the guy who actually wrote, was it?
You'd never find me in the kitchen.
I think he wrote Freeway, and he also wrote, let's see what else did Gary Kitchen wrote. River Raid. I don't think he did Kaboom, though. Does anyone know what I'm talking about, West? I hope.
I'm not sure.
Gary Kitchen was one of the founders of Activision.
You see, Thomas, you're old, you see, and we're not.
I was very young then. I was really young. 4 Up is in the audience, better believe it. Constantine Dante, the syrup is around. He is in the chat, but he's not in the back. Where'd he go? Grip Ripper, absolutely. Oh, let's get to this. Scroll through this fast. Steve Sanders, Jonathan, of course, again, the second time. Oh, let's scroll and scroll. Tony D, KK Nichols, W. Taylor, Jason Brown, bunch of newer people. Last of the finest, hopefully first of the finest. Bones McCoy. I think I've got something in here for that. That requires a.
I'm a doctor, not a bricklayer.
Good to see you, Bones, as always. Always gotta love Bones McCoy. Ellen, nope. Heidi T, I think you've been around here. Canadian here. That Blame Canada song is extremely annoying, as it should be. Sprung Monkey. It's from, what do you call it? South Park, not North Park. Yeah, we could call it North Park instead. August 8/16. How you doing? Electra RC, also known as Zach. War of the Worlds, Obi Fett, and First Contact.
I didn't think when I went to that War of the Worlds immersive experience that it was actually a training for what we're about to go through.
Hey, hemp freedom. God, there was something I read about hemp this morning, and I actually tagged it somewhere. It was a really interesting article. Oh, yeah. The number of people who have died from overdoses of hemp has risen. Oh, it's actually staying flat, right? Yes, it's still at 0. But on that note...
Yeah, but surely it can still be counted as high.
Oh, my God. He got a good one on there.
I got a good one there. Got a good one.
Let's rewind.
I'm awaiting my badum.
What the hell is that? Why is it? Only play while pause.
Badum.
There you go. Rewind so we can give you the dumb chang. Yes. UFO shot down. Second UFO shot down. First recovery underway. Wow. It is just hopping out there. So anything. I guess there's no news stories about this yet. But we do have a story here from Ack. Oh, that's our producer in the back.
As soon as they report it on Sky News, I'm going to cap it, get it uploaded so you can show it.
Do me a favor. Upload it to the channel, this channel, and post it as a video. You have the rights to do that.
Yeah, but I don't have all the opening and closing that you put on them.
Who cares? Just get it up. I'd rather get it up than not. God, a bunch of innuendos. Yes, time to stock up on the toilet paper again. Oh my God. Aliens are coming. We need more TP. Everyone, quick, run to Costco.
I need TP for my bunghole.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I've got a. Well, what's that going on? Oh, could it be possibly? It's Larry Gurnt has joined the back room as well. Larry, oh God, and we've got would you look at that? We've got our first super chat of the day. Holy cow. I want to thank Nikki X1 for this wonderful super chat, man. You've got a cool one there. A bunch of glasses. The future is so bright. We must wear shades. Of course, the lenses are dirty and I can't see shit right now, but that's okay. Nikki X1, I appreciate the wonderful super chat. Holy cow. What a great way to support Disclosure tonight. Hell, it is the only way to support Disclosure tonight. And along with our super chats, we've got our super dog coming in and dancing in the background. Artie, take it away, my friend. My goodness, he is just bugging into this. Let the good times roll. Oh my goodness, yes, thank you very much. I appreciate the wonderful super chat. That was not planned. That was something that came in spur of the moment. I want to thank Artie the Wonder Dog for coming in and boogieing to the super chat music. Yes. Remember, Disclosure tonight is completely fan funded, and every dollar that goes into our super chats goes back into the production of this show. Thank you very much, Artie, for coming and supporting us. And thank you to Nikki X1 for that wonderful super chat. All right. So let me jump into the chat room. Actually, let me jump across into the Zoom of the desktop where we've got our first article from yesterday, our first story coming from 4 News in the United Kingdom. Correct, Gary? We lost Gary.
Yeah, Channel 4 News. Yeah.
All right, let me take down.
This is from today.
Clear the current overlay, and let's go ahead and take a gander on this one.
U.S. fighter jets have shot down an unidentified object in the skies over Alaska, although authorities say they don't believe it was a spy balloon. The object, which was the size of a car and reportedly described by one official as silver-coloured and cylindrical, was first spotted on Thursday, flying at around the same altitude as commercial airliners. It comes just a week after a Chinese surveillance balloon was shot down over South Carolina. As Jonathan Rugman reports.
I have no idea what this thing is. I hope it's in focus.
That's the balloon that was shot down.
It is. A lot of the news reports are showing this balloon footage, and it's confusing.
A week ago, this Chinese spy balloon was...
Gotcha, Gary. Thank you very much.
...shot down by an American F-22 fighter firing a Sidewinder missile.
Holy
The U.S. Navy...
I've never seen that one, have you? Interesting. I've never seen the missile coming.
Recover the Sidewinder missile.
Holy
The U.S. Navy deployed divers to recover the wreckage, though the FBI says much of the evidence remains underwater. And now a second unmanned object has been brought down, possibly Chinese, but maybe not.
It was much, much smaller than the spy balloon that we took down last Saturday. The way it was described to me was roughly the size of a small car, as opposed to a payload that was like 2 or 3 buses size.
The object was shot down over frozen ocean near Alaska's border with
Right. And I've got an article about that to bring up as well.
Canada, as it was heading northeast towards the North Pole. The Americans had been tracking it for 24 hours, unlike the 8 days it took before the balloon was shot down a week ago. But because this object was flying much lower at 40,000 feet, it was considered a risk to commercial aircraft. Over the Nevada desert this week, American, British and Australian fighters wargamed their response to a possible Chinese invasion in the Pacific. It was an annual drill, though this one took place amid rising tension. On Thursday, the House of Representatives voted unanimously to condemn China's spy balloon, with Republicans trying to paint President Biden's reaction as weak.
This thing was gigantic. What happened if it came down and hit a school in the rural area? What happened if it came down? So I told them as soon as they can shoot it down, shoot it down. They made a wise decision. They shot it down over water. They're recovering most of the parts, and they're good.
The Americans believe...
If they shoot it down at night, guess what? That school would not have any people in it.
I love the fact that he just sort
of a global survey.
Oh, So he sort of does what like most pop music does. He sort of faded out in his own voice at the end of that sentence. He didn't know how to end it. So it's like,
we have Larry Gurnt in the back along with Christian Morales. Welcome, gentlemen. Look forward to hearing from you shortly.
Not for weather research, as the Chinese claim. Beijing says destroying it was a serious mistake, and they refused to let America's defense secretary talk by phone to his Chinese counterpart.
As for the US to claim that the balloon is part of a so-called fleet, I'm not aware of that. This may be part of the US side's information warfare against China. The international community sees clearly who is conducting the most spy, surveillance and monitoring activities.
Coming from the country that completely lied about the Wuhan COVID wonder virus, yes. Do we believe them now? Oh, hell no. Poor lady. She's got to look like she's telling the truth. But then again, she only gets a little bit of the information.
The FBI are now studying the balloon's wreckage, with Joe Biden himself claiming that this was not a major security breach. Its importance may well have been inflated by the president's critics. But F-22 jets have now shot down 2 objects in the space of a week.
No,
and if
3.
the second was also Chinese, that will surely be seen by many Americans as a deliberate provocation.
Interesting, to say the least. But that's not the only thing happening. We've had some other interesting things going on with regards to the phenomenon over even Hawaii, where there's a bunch of lasers that coming down from, a Chinese spacecraft.
That they said it's coming from a Chinese satellite, but it looks like the Matrix. It's so bizarre.
So if we take a look of where potentially the craft was actually downed, that gives you a pretty good example. I believe it was being asked by, it was Jan?
It's in Prude Ho Bay, which makes me question, is there such a thing as a Prude Ho? Discuss.
I can't say, but it's an interesting thing. Believe it or not, they've had, if I can get back to this article, bring back into the studio for a second. Let me bring it around with our chat. Larry, how you doing, my friend? How's your diet? How's your Pepsi doing?
Good, Thomas. I'm, again, without sleep. So I'm hoping to get back on a daytime schedule. And that's what I'm just staying up.
Lots of melatonin and some sleep aid might help you just fall right to sleep.
It'll happen.
It'll happen.
Because I'm like shit right now.
Rumor has it.
But I'm very interested in this story. And when that last government official came on and he said it was much smaller than the original balloon, much smaller, as if like, hey, nothing to worry about. What the hell was it though, buddy? That's what we want to know.
I think it's something we all want to know, to tell you the truth, because if I can find, I've got the story up somewhere in here. I'm just trying to go ahead and find it again. Yeah, we brought in some of those dual prop helicopters like we had on the overall intro for the show tonight, being brought in to go ahead and try and figure out what is actually going on. What are we dealing with here? They're trying to go ahead and do recoveries on it at this point in time, but it's going to come down to, well, the ocean is frozen up in that area, so there shouldn't be any issues going ahead and recovering whatever was shot down.
No, the issue is going to be relaying that information to the American public who wants to know, and they're going to just hide it all. If it's anything interesting, they're going to hide it. But then again, we know that
a lot of pressure for answers. So, and it's going to be, it's nice that the whole American public is going to want answers on this. Not like usually it's just, the UAP community asking for answers. No, now everybody's going to want answers. There's going to be so much pressure that I don't know if they're going to be able to get away with another cover up like Roswell or whatever. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm on the edge of my seat over here, man. And now they apparently shot 2 more objects. I heard, was it 2 or 1 that they shot down today?
Just 1, it looks like.
Yeah, today it's just 1 in Canada.
Can I chip in a sec before we lose it on chat?
Yeah.
4ups put a post of a thing. It's hang on, let me get back to it on my screen here. It's titled Canada UFO sighting from, and that was put on 18 minutes ago on YouTube. I put a link in call.
Is it from a story or is it from?
No, it's on YouTube. Somebody's YouTube footage. It's
I
only about
can't.
21.
I've got to be careful on what I show from YouTube and everything. But anyway, an American fighter jet shot down. Let me zoom this in so we can see this a little bit better. Over Canada on Saturday afternoon, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has announced. The news came shortly after the North American Aerospace Defense Command, also known as NORAD, warned of a high-altitude airborne object flying over northern Canada. Let's go ahead. Trudeau had said, I ordered the takedown of the unidentified object that violated Canadian airspace. Trudeau said in a statement on Twitter, Canadian and U.S. aircraft were scrambled and a U.S. F-22 successfully fired at the object, he said, adding that the Canadian authorities will now analyze the wreckage. And if I try to take a look at the link, copy link address, let's cross our fingers for what we're going to see.
This is so fascinating.
Here we go. We've got the Canadian UFO sightings. So you've got something up there. Oh, shit.
Be good to get Pixie on that if you can, Thomas.
What was that?
It will be good to get Pixie on that if you can.
Yeah, we can. It's just a video right now. Here, let's leave it at that. This one here, actually, when you were zooming in, when they were beyond zooming in, there's a spot right about here where we're starting to see some right there. Thank you for reminding me about Pixie. Pixie is our little developer tool from Mac OS that allows us to go ahead and take a region of the screen and zoom it in. Well, it's got bulbous ends on both sides, so that gets rid of that Hollywood squares kind of object that was being stolen the other day. Try to zoom in, we lose focus again on the stuff. I think going back at one point in time, I think that's probably the best focus. Let's just play out the rest of the clip. So there's actually two, not one.
Yeah. I think you can see it's possibly when it starts in the bottom left corner. I think you can see the moon.
Yeah, there's the moon there.
Maybe the one when oh shit planes flew off and the other one was like, what? That's how only one was shot down. Maybe the other one zapped off.
Now, there's one thing interesting. If you noticed on the, can't see it here. Let me bring it up a little bit larger. If you notice on the, when I bring this up, the bottom middle of the object, there's a dark spot. It's kind of hard to see. But as it was actually getting in a bit more, it's still kind of there. Who do we have in there? Syrup is jumping in into the chat to go ahead and talk about this. Now, here's the thing. If it was a Tic Tac, those things would be zooming around. What we're seeing is a bunch of objects that are primarily really remaining stationary. Now, I guess we have to go ahead and ask the main question here is this something potentially that's another balloon object or in a different shape, or are we dealing with definitely something else? It's hard to tell.
It's just the timing. The timing is just very provocative.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
I mean, it makes,
isn't it?
You know, yeah.
Syrup, you've got your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, real quick. I just wanted to say, if it isn't China, and then they come around and start using the excuse, "Oh, it's China," aren't they going to have a lot of people unnecessarily pissed off at China? So, do you think that would be something they would do? Is to say, "Oh, it's China," even though it isn't China?
They haven't said anything about these being China. The one from yesterday, they said it wasn't China.
Okay. And
the one today. So, David Wartsky brings up another good question. Are we looking at something that's terrestrial or not? On that note, let me go ahead and find the chat, and I will listen to you,
I
David.
just kind of feel like they're going to try to put the blame on China.
Well, they did. They didn't with the last one. They're waiting to get
that's true. That's
some
true.
crash footage in and see where it's going to go.
I don't know. Yesterday, CNN were heavily pushing the China thing, but none of the other news stations were.
CNN, as in the Clinton News Network, yes. Take you down. There we go. Okay, let's bring that around. I'm going to go ahead and bring up a survey. Let's see where the audience is going to take this one. UFO shot down by Canada. We got two choices. It's either human-made or it's not human-made. Let's go ahead and get this survey up right now. And to our audience, it'll be interesting to see where everybody's going to go ahead and take this. Let me go ahead and bring up the size of the font of the text. Come on, bring it up larger. There you go. Let's see where our audience is going to go ahead and take this. Okay, Google, give me a timer for 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes to go ahead and see.
2 minutes, starting now.
To see where the audience is going to take us. Is this human-made or not human-made? I'd like to know. Quickly to try and persuade our audience in a particular direction. Where do you guys see this? Is it man-made or is it not human-made? Syrup, what do you think?
I'm going to say not human again, just because my heart wants it to be. But if it's
Okay.
not China and it's human, who would it be?
I don't know. Let's move on to our next person. Christian Morales, human-made or not human-made? What is your answer?
Not human made.
All right, Wes Decker. What is
Not
your take
human-made.
on this?
Not human-made.
Not human-made. So we've got 3 not human-made. Following up with Larry Gerndt. Larry, in close, where do you feel this is? And try and convince the audience. Well, we've got a minute left.
Well, human-made is what I voted. So, because am I wrong to assume these were shot down, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Okay, then just based on that, I'm going to say human-made because UAPs have not traditionally allowed themselves to be shot down.
Absolutely. With just 45 seconds left on this, come on, people, get in your vote. Let's see if we can get it higher than the vote of 81 that we had last night. 78 votes coming in, and it's predominantly showing our audience believes that it's not human-made. From what I'm seeing, the shapes are different, but for me, honestly, I could say probably not human-made. But the thing is, you never know where it's going to go when the actual facts come in. They find the wreckage and they bring it in and say, hey, here's what we found. Look, it says made in China. I wonder if they have
that's
it
the
in-
thing as well. I mean, like, if it turns out to be that, at least we covered it, you know?
Yeah.
Because if we hadn't have covered it and it turned out to be something else, then we would look like idiots. So there's no winning on this either way. So just
Would you look at that with no time left? This is our highest vote ever, 83 votes in. That means the audience has got to be building pretty well. Holy cow, at this point. It's got to be like similar to last night. Let's go ahead and bring that up. Stop the music and let's get on with this and continue on with the conversation. All right, UFO shot down by Canada. The audience is predominantly saying not human-made at 58% versus human-made at 42%. It's almost the same as last night, except last night we were, I think, at 61, 39%. So a little bit more people are crawling into the not human-made.
Angela's made a very good point there. They said no human on board. They didn't specify anything else.
Who said that one?
Angela just said it in the chat.
Oh.
Well spotted.
No human on board, I think they said, but I could have had one inside of it. True, but remember, if it is humans, that's true. But not everything for the phenomenon is at human scale, is it, Gary? I mean, Larry. I did it again. You're muted, my friend. You're still muted. There you go.
I might as well be. I might as well be because I was adjusting my sound, so I missed the question.
What did I say again, Gary? I'm sorry.
It was about Angela's comment where they said there was no human on board, but it could have had some.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You know, it basically could have been that saying that it's not everything is on human scale, is it, Larry? When it comes to the phenomena.
Absolutely. Of course
Absolutely.
not.
Thank you, sir. Wes Decker, your hand is up, my friend.
Yeah, and I forgot why it was up. So I guess I will just say real quickly, my reason for thinking not human made, I know we have traditionally thought that these things could outrun anything that we've got, but what if these are just sort of dumber probes that aren't programmed for evasive action? Maybe this is a new strategy that we've taken on to say, okay. And the reason I say this is that last night when we played the clip from Senator Murkowski of Alaska, she had just literally stepped out of the classified briefing. And so I watched her carefully to see what kind of words she used. Now, she played up the war rhetoric and the whole, we have to defend Alaska thing, but she mentioned entities instead of calling it, something else, which makes me think she heard the word entity in the briefing just prior. And that's why my suspicions are these things might actually be not human made.
Looking for that clip from yesterday.
West, I agree with you 100% in your opinion about what these objects are. It's not like there's an insectoid or a gray alien on these objects on board. I don't think they might be part of a mothership or something, but these are, I think these are like assets or that the phenomena has for whatever mission or purpose that we frankly don't know what their purpose is. But, for the phenomena, some of these objects might not be that important, like they can make another one. I don't know. I think we can take them down if they let us, and it's some we can't. But Jeremy Corbell has been saying that they've been shooting UAPs down for a while now in the Middle East, and I don't know. There's something weird about these objects. They have no means of propulsion. It just fits the UAP description very well. The one in Alaska, at least. Let's see what more information we have, and if it is China, that's ballsy on their part. I don't know. I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Hey,
Yeah, no, I don't.
Real quick, has there ever actually been recorded or documented evidence of us trying to shoot down a UFO and being unsuccessful? Or is that just like theory based on like, we can see what they can do. The Tic Tac can move like this and that. Obviously, that'd be hard to shoot down. But has there ever been like documented like, hey, we tried to chase down and shoot a UFO and we were unsuccessful, or are we guessing?
There is one piece of evidence that I'm aware of, which is Bob Lazar's story. There was 9 craft, different types in each hangar, 9 hangars, right? And one of those craft, many of them were in perfect shape, but one of them had like a missile, like a fairly thin missile had been shot right through it, and you could see that was what it was, the damage. So somebody shot that one down.
And then I'm aware of 2 other instances where an attempt was made. One is the story in Leslie Kean's book of the Iranian fighter jet that attempted to lock on to the UFO that was flying over, and his weapon system and flight controls were deactivated, and he was forced to, well, I guess it's not his flight controls, but his weapons control system was turned off, and so he was forced to disengage. And then one other is a report from Cuba that they sent up 2 fighters to check something out, and then were given the order to fire. And as soon as that order was given, one of the pilots was shot down. But that's more of a mythical story that I don't know if there's any evidence for compared to the Iranian jet. There's documentation and witness testimony of.
Right, that makes sense. Now keep in mind though, like that wasn't the cream of the crop fighter jets they were using. That wasn't the F-22s.
That's exactly right. We're talking about 1970s era technology.
What we really got capable of as far as like the F-22s, if they got some special missiles or whatever. I'm just pushing really hard for this to be UFOs, man. I'm looking at and go, I try to suggest that, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm very biased. I want it to be UFOs. Yes, I just want, I want to get revenge against Jenkins and Barnes and all those guys that have been just pooping on the UAP topic. But I really think they are. I really think the one over Alaska is an unidentified, legit UAP. But yeah, I don't know, man. I can't wait for next week to see what more comes out. And are we going to keep shooting these things down? I mean, we know that we see UAPs are an everyday thing, so where does that put us with them? I don't know. Kind of concerning a little bit.
Absolutely. It's one of those things we just have some questions and need to get some answers on. As we reported earlier on the tonight's show banner before everything started taking place in Canada, the high altitude object, let me just go ahead and just grab a screenshot of this as we jump into the article and talk about it. Bring it in here, bring it around. This is getting reported on everywhere from the war zone and everything, including even over our friends over at Zero Hedge, where there's a great article where they're talking about high altitude object over Alaska shot down by F-22 jet. We have CH-47 helicopters are deployed in recovery operation. Remember, the overall surface of the ocean at this point in time is actually frozen. So the Pentagon press secretary yesterday, Brigadier General Pat Ryder, gave few additional details in a briefing shortly after it was revealed the U.S. military shot down a UFO over Alaska Thursday night. When questioned about the possibility of a second Chinese balloon, Ryder said that the U.S. has yet to reach out to China over the latest incident. Ryder says that U.S. Army CH-47 helicopters have launched to recover debris from the object down in northeast Alaska and the frozen waters near the Canadian border. If we take a look at some of the comments coming in, as we have heard before, that ABC News global affairs correspondent Martha Raditz, Raditz, thank you. Let me just get this out of the way. Raditz first reported that when fighters were scrambled, the pilots did visuals, got images, and said there was no sign of the object had propulsion. It was described as cylindrical and silverish gray and seemed to be floating, the U.S. official said. So, asked if it was balloon-like, all I said is that it wasn't flying with any sort of propulsion. So if that is balloon-like, well, we just don't have enough at this point. So it seems the world could find out that what this object actually was. However, recovery could take time given the difficult weather elements in northeast Alaska. Remembering the the U.S. military used an F-22 to take down the object and everything. So as U.S. officials said on Friday, that the U.S. military has engaged and shot down a UFO first observed in Alaska on Thursday night, but we just had more F-22s being deployed to take down additional objects on behalf of Canada and NORAD. Wow. This situation just continues to develop. Now, this also kind of links into a story that I had saw up on Flipboard, but it was shared back with me by the team here at Disclosure tonight. Let me go ahead and bring it up. That's not it. It's not about the Furbies that people are turning things into, which is very odd and interesting. No, there's another one here. Oh, it can't be that one. It's not the one about Pamela. I thought there was an article. Maybe it was the one from Gary directly had sent me. Here we go. Coming to us from opening. Screw it.
I say it was just. I just saw it on Reddit yesterday. That's why it's a screenshot.
yeah, I got you. Let me just take another screenshot of it. So basically, what we had appear over. Where's it at? Where did preview go? All right. So basically, what they had come down over Hawaii when they were doing some interstellar observations. Here we go. There was a bunch of streaks of green lasers that were shooting down and hitting Hawaii. And at first we thought that was going to be coming from one of the U.S. satellites that was overhead conducting an experiment. But no, this was actually something coming down from a Chinese satellite. So China is definitely, whatever's going on, is ramping up their surveillance of the United States of America, whether it be what's out in Hawaii, what's up in Alaska, what's across the continental United States. For what reason? What are they preparing for? What are they trying to do? Because there's been a lot, I hate to say it, there's been a lot of discussion and there's been a lot of rumors of people talking about that in a short amount of time we're heading towards, if you want to call it war, with both China and Russia for what's going on. And for on that point, if it comes down that what's true about, oh, less of the finest, you need to go. Sorry about that, buddy. Dang it. He was in the back and he left. Rats. All right. For what we're seeing and what's going on, you just have to take a look and say, are we? I don't want war, Angela G. None of us want war, but we just have to be honest of what we're seeing, which could mean a lot greater of a strain between both the United States and Canada and potentially Europe, not just with Russia, but also with China. You never, Artie, know where it's going to go. Larry?
West was before me.
Oh, West. Take it.
I would, on that war thinking, I think it's important to remember that we still are the people and we should be the ones to set that tone. And if we give into the propaganda that we should be talking about war, that makes it easier for people who maybe want to push the war agenda to do that.
Oh, I don't want war. Nobody does. All we're trying to do.
No, I'm not saying you do. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that we should all try to do our best to.
Yeah.
We have a voice, and this is another good time to pick up the phone or do the email to your Congress people and tell them what you want. And I think that in the case of this satellite too, that those green lights that are coming down, that doesn't necessarily have to be a nefarious satellite. It could be Chinese, but the first assumption they made was that it was actually a U.S. satellite, because they know that we have satellites that do detailed mapping of the Earth. It's kind of like a LiDAR scan. So it simply could be that China is doing detailed mapping of the Earth like we do. It doesn't necessarily have to be a nefarious purpose. So that's what I would caution all of us, is to just sort of do our part, not to jump to the worst conclusion, but to keep an open mind that, you know, these things may be innocuous. It could be a scientific satellite.
Yeah. You know, a good question coming in from Anonymous Rex. Tim Senor used to be part of the regulars on Disclosure Tonight. He's over now on Spaced Out Radio, but he brings in a good question. Why?
Oh, hang on, Thomas. Before you read Tim's question, CNN are saying about the one from yesterday that it interfered with the plane sensors.
Really?
Yes.
Oh. Wow.
Thomas, I sent you a text
Holy shit.
about the clip. I sent you a text
Wow.
message about that CNN video. where they talk about how it interfered with the sensors and there was no means of propulsion, and how the pilots, they all had.
Here's the thing.
It's very weird.
Here's an idea.
A balloon.
Here's an idea. Just consider this. Let me push myself to a proper size there. Just consider this just for this idea, guys. What if the Chinese, right, are observing the UFOs like we're observing the UFOs, right? What if the Chinese and their observations have realized this is how they jam our sensors, right? So, close, maybe not exactly, but this is how they jam their sensors. That would allow them to put up balloons or observation things that, quote unquote, kind of look like UFOs, but don't move like UFOs. So we're dealing with technology that's human-made, but they're employing some ET-esque technology to make us think that they're UFOs.
Except, did you hear what Christian just said? Go ahead.
What?
No, yeah, I was just telling you that I sent you a link on CNN that about pilots and then their sighting that took down the Alaskan object. Where I don't know, I think it's pretty interesting. And for China to do that, which I'm sure they really want to do that, they must have had a breakthrough in physics and whatnot.
These objects aren't moving like the objects aren't moving like UFOs. That's the difference.
I apologize for interrupting.
Right.
I think I want to clarify something that Christian said that you may have missed. He said the pilots reported having different experiences when they got near the object. That would be definitely beyond the expected thing of a Chinese technology in my mind, because that indicates that they're having an effect on cognition or consciousness, not just the systems in the plane.
What if
I missed that, Christian?
I just had an idea, guys. Something just popped in I want to share. If that's the case of what you're saying, Christian, thank you very much. Holy cow, for bringing that little thing forward. If that's truly what's happening, what if they're saying it's time, you're going to find out about us, and they start putting craft in places and just letting it frickin' sit there and making it completely vulnerable to our aircraft. Now, we know their stuff really isn't if they want to move around and do something.
Aliens.
Yeah, but they're not kamikazing. They're not going to smash into something. They're just coming out here saying, we're just going to hang out here and we're going to do this. Granted, why the hell they're doing it there and not over an American city? But that could be, you always have to think of these things as being devious. Not devious, super intelligent. So if they really want to figure out how can we go ahead and make the government not be able to do it without actually doing it and show the humanity that we're the aggressors, put some craft out there. Let them get blown up.
Yep.
It's time.
And also, remember yesterday that map, that interactive map that Andy got up for us? The aircraft, when it got to the location of the supposed crash, was circling in all kinds of weird ways, like it couldn't find it. And I don't know if we've gotten any reports that they've actually successfully started recovery. And this was on frozen ice. It didn't fall into the ocean. It supposedly should have fallen on fairly easy to spot ice. So to your point, Thomas, they may just be putting these out there and then they're going, oh yeah, you shot us, boom. And then they're just wink out.
Disappear.
Well, no, and think of it this way. It's a craft that's put there for a reason to get blown up.
Yeah, and that too. I mean,
but do you think this would have happened if it wasn't for the Chinese balloon that from a week ago? Would we be seeing this on the news if that wouldn't have happened? What do you guys think?
I love that point. I think if I would just have my fantasy, it would be that, the first one was obviously a balloon, and then you're going to watch the government try to lie about the other two, which might be real. It reminds me of crop circles, because some of them are man-made, and then some of them are actually not man-made, and they've been seen to be made by orbs. So, yeah, it's very interesting. I wonder if the government's getting baited into looking like the
An
liars
aggressor?
that they are.
Or like the Keystone Cops.
Yeah. Let's see what our audience is saying out there right now. Some great comments coming in. First, last of the finest, the Air Force Security Forces briefed us on what they retrieve in the water. They should briefed us on what they should. Let me see if I can find his last one before that. Maybe there's something else here. Ex-military, I believe. Bingo, Thomas and friends. All right. No, I don't see anything before that. Back to the audience as well. Last of the finest. So this has been going on for some time, and he knew of it 12 years ago. So
Jump back on, Last of the Finest. Tell us.
yeah, would love to hear from you. Mr. Catfish 2100 is saying the balloon was a craft from space, probably, and they are keeping it secret now. Who knows? They are showing us like they aren't showing us like the last balloon. That's true. And actually, I got a confidential message about this last night. There was a Tic Tac that was shot down, and they're creating a balloon takedown video to cover it up. We'll see where our government takes this, and who knows? It's not just the nukes. I hear you, Yellow Tommy Tanker, also, and Aubrey McLeod. There we go. McLeod. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that. Aubrey is saying, I thought similarly, Thomas. Thank you for being there, Gary. You know, I'm horrible with names.
CNN said I've got it in my ear. They've been talking about it nonstop for 15 minutes now. They're saying that all pilots insisted that it was unmanned.
All right, let's take a look and see.
So if I'm missing stuff, I do apologize.
Yes, coming down from upstairs, up high, I'm hearing someone yelling CNN is fake news.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't have any of the American news network.
Oh, I know.
I do apologize.
There's nothing in the middle here.
Thomas, Last of the Finest is in ready.
Yep, got his hand up.
Oh, here we go. Okay, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we got some people talking over on CNN. I guess I can go ahead and bring that footage up as something for us to go ahead and take a look at.
I'm listening to it in my ear. Last of the Finest has come up, Thomas. You might want to speak to Last of the Finest.
He's not here. Is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, Last of the Finest, talk, my friend.
You're on mute.
All right. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So back in 2012, when I was on Eglin, they told us that occasionally space junk would fall in the water, that sometimes we would have to go retrieve it. Now, they told this to my entire military police unit when we were there. And, you know, I touched a little bit on Site C6 when I was there. And I think that they have been doing this for a long time, because my biggest question after they told us that was, why does space junk just fall in the waters on Eglin Air Force Base? It didn't make much sense to me that they would just retrieve things out of the water there, and it doesn't fall anywhere else, like it doesn't fall in my backyard. So I found that very odd. And then when I went to the radar facility on Site C6, and I did my research on it, and I found out that they can see objects into space 20,000 miles out, the size of a basketball, which you'll hear Chris Mellon talk about it sometimes. But he
they can track that. They can track that from ground level or sea level out beyond the orbit of the moon, that size of an object, with all the different sensors they have at the different levels going beyond it. That's their basic capability. And that's not just within the United States looking out. it's worldwide because we have defense partners all around the world where we have additional installations for all of our signals intelligence to go ahead and be able to create this kind of a intelligence network.
Right. And it told me that, it happens enough to where they have to tell security people that occasionally they have to go out in the water and retrieve stuff out of the water that falls from space. And this week, when all this stuff started happening, it just brought back a lot of memories from that time. And I've heard people say that maybe they use some kind of electromagnet pulse weapon to do it, because when these things travel into space, where maybe an Air Force jet's flying or something like that, it messes up their electronics. A lot of the pilots report, that these things jam up their radars and everything. So it would make sense that they would try to do something to shoot them down. I just hope that maybe with this stuff coming out, that maybe the military will be a little bit more forthcoming. It sounds like they're making a little bit of strides, not that much.
Yeah, maybe we'll go ahead and see where it goes. But at least at this point, we're getting situations where it's happening, where we know, and we've based looking back at prior UAP reports and everything, they're trying to go ahead and just classify it as Chinese drones and just push it underneath push it under the water for that matter. But now it's actually getting to a point where if they're seeing these and they're considering them as unknown origin, they're coming in and trying to go ahead and literally clean up a mess that potentially has been going on for a while. Now, who knows whose signal intelligence this could be a part of? How long has it actually been happening? Is it just something that's been going on for a while that they've been going and ignoring? Or is this something new? And if it is, like you're saying, like both of us are saying, the government should have an ability to understand where the heck this stuff came from. But,
well,
as W. Decker was saying a second ago, if we do have things where you have two pilots going into seeing it and they're getting two different observations of the same object, that's where we just have to either understand, A, we have an object that can change shape between different presentations, or we've got something that is of a next level of technology that...
Now, what I will say from my interactions with the Chinese, because I was an ESL teacher for 6 years after I left the military, and they're just as puzzled about this as we are, and they're as interested in this as we are. And I think on both sides, there's a lot of questions. Maybe the government knows a little bit more than what they're saying. I hope that they will be more forthcoming in the future, because I think people have the right to know what's happening. I mean, the place was very stunning to me, and I was kind of awestruck at the time. If I had been prepared and so interested in the topic at that time, I would have probably dug a little bit deeper. I just left the place, and I had an interesting encounter when I was a kid. I was probably 5 or 6 years old when I had a sighting. And when I went to this place and I read on the wall that we monitor all space activity, terrestrial and extraterrestrial, from planet Earth, when I went into the facility, it just kind of floored me right away. And I left there thinking, they have some next level things going on here, which all military police have to have a secret security clearance. So that's how I was able to go to the site. And you can Google the site. It's on Google. It hides in plain sight.
Right.
The radar facility, it's very powerful, and a lot of people have never heard of it.
Right.
But they do have a lot of things, that capabilities that a lot of people have no clue about.
Yeah.
But they know where these things are coming in and they know where they're going. And when they act like they don't, it really makes me angry.
Right. And that, because it's always been about focusing on the craft at that location. Anything beyond that has been kind of out of the conversation for the most part. Now, breaking news, I've got some additional video stuff coming in from Fox News at this point. I've got CNN. Pause. We'll show that in a couple minutes here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this little clip talking about the shoot down and takedown of the UFO over North America. Let's see where that's at. I can't see it from here. There we go. Desktop zoom. Perfect. All right. Let me shrink myself down again. Oh, that's not me. There we go. Shrink myself down back to the corner. Let's check this out. Actually, wrong browser. No one's going to be able to hear that. Let me fix this. Give me 1 second. Safari. Okay, now we can do it.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia Cunha, along with Joey Jones, Tommy Lahren, and Joe Concha. And welcome to the Big Saturday Show. The big story tonight is a Fox News alert. Another object spotted by NORAD over Canada. And Lucas Tomlinson is live at the White House with what we know. Hi, Lucas.
Hi, Alicia. That's right. NORAD putting out a statement just moments ago saying another mysterious high-altitude object has been discovered on radar, this time flying high over Canada. It's not clear when or where this was first picked up. NORAD saying in a statement, quote, military aircraft are currently operating from Alaska and Canada in support of North American Aerospace Defense Command and NORAD activities. NORAD confirms that we have positively identified a high-altitude airborne object over northern Canada. NORAD refused to offer any more specifics. This is the second object detected in the Arctic since Thursday night. A senior U.S. official tells Fox that object was not detected until it had already successfully penetrated U.S. airspace over Alaska and then shot down by an F-22 Raptor launched from Elmendorf Air Force Base in Anchorage. Right now, U.S. Army Chinook helicopters like this on skis are combing the area off the rugged north coast of Alaska. The temperature right now on that frozen tundra, minus 20 degrees. NORAD says the limited daylight and rough weather is limiting the search. Now, that object was shot down over Prudhoe Bay, home of North America's largest oil field. Of course, Alaska also home to a U.S. Army unit and Air Force Base, and also Fort Greely, home of U.S. ballistic missile interceptors.
That's why we have those helicopters on the title card.
Okay, so Lucas, a quick question here. We've had two objects and one spycraft, confirmed spycraft. Why are we having trouble picking these objects up on radar?
Well, bottom line, officials tell me, Alicia, that satellites are having trouble picking this up. Remember, our airborne satellites in space are used to discover missile launches, like out of North Korea, other places. You know, when things go boom, those are IR birds floating in space. They have.
So whatever they're putting up is basically stealth.
At least it's not giving off any IR. He was just saying that they're watching for IR bursts. So,
right, it's got some form of stealth technology at least.
Yeah,
you know, it's amazing how this thing was over Alaska and then it started to go ahead and travel northward. Who knows how long it was traveling northward and what could be the trajectory of what it was potentially observing? Because nothing just goes out for a frickin' Sunday drive. There's always a purpose for every movement that's out there.
Yep.
Lots of things, you know, in their memory banks. Right now, balloons is just not what these satellites are programmed to discover. The satellites are used to count, you know, aircraft, airplanes on different bases and over Russia, China, you know, missile silos in China, and of course over Ukraine. Right now, these, you know, spy objects, they appear to be only discovered based on ground-based radar. Of course, the curvature of the Earth is going to limit what that radar can see. Alicia?
Lucas Tomlinson live at the White House with the latest update. Thank you so much, Lucas. So
hey, Tom, can I call BS on that for a half second?
Sure.
The point he just made that, well, our satellites can't see balloons and our radar can't see over the curvature of the Earth. Well, that doesn't match to the story we heard last week, which was they monitored that balloon launch from the Aleutian Islands from the get-go all the way across the Pacific, over Alaska and Canada, and over the United States. They had it tracked from the launch. That is not the same as these objects, which I read a report that the one yesterday, at least, did not show up on radar until it was over Alaska. So they don't literally have any idea where it came from. It just appeared over Alaska. So I just don't buy the argument that it's our systems not being trained on how to look at the right data. I think they see everything just fine. It's just these objects are not wanting to be seen.
Or they've put together, if exactly, they can't be seen, whether it's from human or not human. It's something that just begs to be answered as time's going to go on. Let's continue on with this segment here.
White House with begin with you because here we go again.
Yeah, you know, I had a great idea of what I thought was happening here, and then something happens and it really changes your mind, or it makes you question, and it makes me wonder, is that where Joe Biden is right now? See, does he think he has it figured out and then something else happens? My question is, or my concern is, when the spy balloon was outed by Billings Gazette or whatever it was, they act like they knew exactly what they had there. So either they were bluffing, and as that bluff is unfolded to not be true, mainly because we now know, thanks to a hearing that's already happened, that they weren't able to jam the signals of that balloon, which makes it traversing across our country much more of a concern. So either they're worried to give any detail until they figure it out, or they know more about these latest two incidences, and they actually are more concerning, and that's not why they're telling us.
Right.
Quick thing, really quick. That's a military expert we've got from Fox News. We've got a military expert in the show right now. Last of the finest. What's your take on this?
I think he may have just fallen off.
Oh, he was just there. He fell off again. He was just there a second ago. Was stopping to... Yeah, either way. Let's continue on.
Tommy, Joey brings up a great point there, because right now we're not getting that much out of the Biden administration, right? And the question really is, you know, are they trying to protect us from something that they know, or do they really not know?
Or do they have to say something every time they see something now? And maybe they've seen a lot of things, but now, because they were outed by the Billings Gazette, as you mentioned, Joey, with that spy balloon, now I feel like they have to say something every time they see something because Americans are on high alert, which opens up the question of how many other objects have flown through our airspace and have been concerning that we don't know about? That would be my first question here. And then also, are we going to get transparency out of this White House? Because, as you mentioned, they're burying the lead when it comes to a lot of this. They're kind of just skimming over it. The American people care about this kind of thing. We care about whether it's Chinese aggression or anybody else. I mean, open it up. The world is looking at us right now like a sitting duck. So I want to know, are we ever going to get information? Will there ever be transparency? There's a lot of distrust of our government organizations, and rightfully so. I hope they can correct that.
Let's call the A block.
Whoa, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. Are we actually hearing this now? This is what we've been talking about. Let's go back a little bit again.
I can live on that for a day.
Oh, here we go. I have actually have it up here twice. I want to go back 5 seconds.
Of our government organization, ever going to get information? Will there ever be transparency? There's a lot of distrust of our government organizations, and rightfully so. I hope they can correct that.
Let's call.
Yeah, that's, I hate to say it. Yes, we know it's Fox, but we have to think bipartisan on this. And that's what we need on both sides of the frickin' aisle.
Yeah. Well, the other side of the aisle is too busy being woke.
Well.
That's all
on that note, I've got two different things. Let's flip the channels. Literally, I've got CNN.
With that one, you'd have to go back to the beginning of the hour, so 11 minutes before this point.
I don't have that. Do you have it?
I'm up. It's uploading now. I can't do anything till YouTube activate it, but it's uploading.
All right, so we've got something from CNN coming, so hold off on this for a little bit. How much more time do you need for it to upload, do you think, and process?
I don't know. It's uploading. It's all down to YouTube servers, how long it processes.
All right, we'll play this first for 30 seconds and then jump back.
Then, this will turn out to be false alarm. But it's really a good point. If there's nothing underneath.
Actually, I need to make sure the audience is getting this. Hold on.
Yeah, we can't hear this very well.
What?
We're not able to hear this one very well.
Okay, yeah, you're probably hearing it through my freaking microphone because this is from channels. Let me go ahead and add this app, my fault, to the audio stream. I'm not used to streaming from the news. So 1 second, get this to the audience. There's channels.
And while we're waiting, to all of our new
All
viewers,
right.
we want to say welcome and
Meet
please feel free to
audio.
like and subscribe. We really appreciate you stopping by.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much for reminding
I
me
got a
of that.
feeling numbers are going to grow a lot in the next few weeks.
Yeah, if you're new here, yeah, do us a favor. If you're having a good time, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. It helps us share this channel with a lot more people. And if
Can
you're
I do
not,
some-
go ahead and give us a thumbs down, but do us a favor, at least tell us in the comments so we can figure out what we can do to make the...
Can I do some self-promotion? All of the clips I've been grabbing are on my channel, which I'm now posting in the chat. Thank you very much.
Hold on. Don't throw it in the chat yet. All right, speakers, yes, browse. I've got that. So everyone should hear it. Now let me double check. Yeah, everybody should hear this. So let me go back to CNN. Play this again.
Yeah, Thomas, you're up to
Armed, you
454
have
right now.
they're not, or they are of corporate origin, or they really were weather balloons or something that went awry, then, this will turn out to be false alarm. But as Juliet makes a good point, if there's nothing underneath that's likely to be harmed, you have very little cost from shooting it down. The calculation made with the Chinese balloon was quite different, which is by the time we all sort of focused on it, it was already over Montana, and there was concern about what would happen if it hit a populated area.
Yeah, and I think the question moving forward is, what are these objects? And, we certainly just have to get to the bottom of that. I mean, it's just very odd that, something over the skies of Alaska about the size of a small car was taken down, and then one day later, another object taken down over Canada. As you were just saying, David, I mean, if this were not a serious situation, they probably wouldn't be shooting them down. David Singer, Julia Kayam, thanks so much for the expertise. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
And we'll continue to follow the latest from Canada as another high-altitude object was shot down by military aircraft. In the meantime, still ahead, should George Santos be kicked out of the House of Representatives? A fellow freshman congressman is working to do just that. I'll talk to him next. Plus, with more than 28,000 people...
You've got the other video you've got uploading at this point, Gary?
It's uploading now, yeah. Thomas, are you subscribed to my channel?
I think so.
Well, make sure you are, and then ring the little bell, and as soon as the video is ready, you will get a little notification.
Well, you've got the UI there, and you can let me know.
Thomas, sorry, Ruby W's had their hand up for quite a while now.
Who has? Sorry, go ahead.
Ruby W.
Ruby, thanks for coming to the show. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry, I've just been dealing with a bunch of things all at the same time.
Yeah, I completely understand, but what I wanted to say is, think of what Decker said. I do believe the left and the right should get together on this, because I've been tracking the story about the Chinese spy balloon ever since it broke, and I feel like they had the chance to shoot down the spy balloon over the Aleutian Islands. And what they've been doing is just being stupid. Like, they've just been letting Chinese spy balloons, all these spy devices going over across the North America, for they're just allowing it, and they're just
a lot of them were weather balloons that were legally flying internationally.
I'm going to say it's like spy balloons, I mean, I feel like they had the chance to shoot them down over the Aleutian Islands, especially when they just shot down this other, I think it's another spy device, actually. But like, if it's off the coast of this major city in Alaska, and they didn't shoot it over the Aleutian Islands, but they didn't shoot over the Aleutian Islands. They didn't.
I hear you. It's one of those things we're going to have to go ahead and figure out where potentially it's coming from and where it could potentially go. Yeah, appreciate Larry. You're muted, Larry. Larry, you're still muted. There you go.
Takes forever for me to find the button. I just have to comment on this woman in red here that just went off. I mean, that was a breath of fresh air. And this is on Fox News. And this is the start of, this is like a kindling has been started here. Mainstream news, where she was saying the exact thing that we should be saying. You know, she said, we can't trust the Pentagon, and with good reason. I mean, we don't trust them, and with good reason. And are we ever going to get the truth on this? Is, you know, I mean, she was just boom. And I know, you know, Fox News, a lot of people still hate Fox News if they're on the left, but you gotta pick out parts that are good. Tucker
Let's
Carlson,
go ahead and continue on with this video if we can here for a second, Larry. Thanks.
There's Chinese aggression or anybody else. I mean, open it up. The world is looking at us right now like a sitting duck. So I want to know, are we ever going to get information? Will there ever be transparency? There's a lot of distrust of our government organizations, and rightfully so. I hope they can correct that.
Let's call the A block the trust segment, shall we? Because they knew about that first spy plane, that first spy balloon, the minute it was approaching the Alaska coast. We know that because now they've spotted two and told us about it, to your point, right away. And John Kirby did not even announce that they saw that second object that we were talking about yesterday until a reporter asked him. And so you have to ask, why?
Right.
Why did it take a question for Kirby to reveal that information when he should have been saying that the minute he walked up to that podium? And then you have the President of the United States, and I'll leave it here, saying that the spy balloon, despite traversing across our country, going over ICBM sites and overhearing conversations that it could surveil, the president had the audacity to say it wasn't a major breach. Apparently it was, Alicia.
And to excuse it with a term like, oh, there's all kinds of, it happens all the time.
Right.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just getting an update now on this new, this airborne object. We are getting reports that Canada has now shot this down. So that's the latest. And that's interesting timing, how quickly we got that, right, Joey? Like, we find out about it, the NORAD finds it, and then Canada shoots it down. Like,
well, my comment before the show was, is Canada, do they have capabilities? Because NORAD's selling them. It seems like everything that comes through comes around Canada. We're not hearing anything from them. Obviously, now we know they have that capability, thank God. And where does this go from here? Now 2 countries are involved. And China can't hide behind it if this is their aircraft, which I don't know either one of these are, the last 2. They can't hide behind this idea that we are overreacting 2 or 3 or 5 times.
right, because that's the easy argument, right, that we're overreacting. But as an American just sitting at home and you're seeing these and they keep coming up one by one, what's the average American supposed to think about all this?
The average American feels very vulnerable with this president in the White House, whether they're willing to admit it or not. But you brought up something that I think is really important topic for discussion.
There's a lot of attribution here.
Back in the green room, you said, hey, listen, are they flying these lower and making them more visible for a reason? And when you said that, my immediate thought was, yeah, they're sending a message. We are here. We are not scared of you. We want to show your citizens what we've got going on, and we're not trying to even hide it anymore. We're flexing our muscles. We're doing it visibly. If it is China, this is a big flex. You got 3 in a week.
Yeah, but if it's China, that's one thing. But if it's not, and it's the non-human intelligence, that's something that's even bigger on its own.
You nailed it. That's exactly it. That point, when you replay what she just said through that lens, I think it's the story. And, you know, I got to say, this is one thing about this last 2 days, is this is now firmly in the world's mind. This isn't going to just easily die off or be swept under the carpet.
Avi hit a point here pretty strongly. Hey, Blondie, just say UFOs and I'll love you.
I already love her, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, as a queue building.
If anyone knows about like the weapons we use or whatever, if these are okay, let's say people keep saying, oh, they could be spy balloons, but if they're not spy balloons and they're spy devices and there's no means of propulsion, how would they be able to move? Because I'm sure if they're not balloons, how would these devices, quote unquote, be able to fly in the sky?
Exactly. It's a good question to ask. Well, you know what we need is more information at this point, because look how much excitement there is from people on YouTube. 477 people watching a show about this right now as we're talking about this important topic. But also in the media itself, it's creating a big buzz, and this is like the day before frickin' Super Bowl. This is almost kind of like a disclosure Super Bowl where, there's a lot of talk going on, and it's awakening a ton of people. So even if it turns out to be something from China, it's opened a lot of people's ears and eyes to this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Christian's got his hands raised.
All right, Christian, go ahead. And now I've got our CNN video cooked and ready to bring up. So
I wanted to say that that's basically my what I was going to say, that this is it's going to help the cause a lot. All this interest. It's a blessing that this is happening for our cause. That's all. You can continue.
great way to see a Christian. It's what we see here as well. And glad that you're here to go ahead and share with us. And remember, anyone who wants to stop in, have a comment to say when everything we had disclosure tonight, we always have viewer call in. We've got a lot of great regulars and some people who are popping in. And hey, it's Google Chat, so there's no limit on the number of people we could actually have in the back. So let's go ahead and continue on with this. We're flipping back and forth between coverage from CNN and Fox as this day is developing.
I have a BBC one uploading as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Gary. Oh, wait a minute. Again, wrong browser, Thomas. Glasses. I keep on thinking Chrome, and I have to bring it. Oh, we have to have another tab here for this one.
Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, February 11th. I'm Amara Walker.
Great to be with you, Amara. I'm Boris Sanchez. You are live in the CNN newsroom, and you don't have to.
Thomas, that was earlier this morning, not just.
That's not the one you just uploaded?
No, that was this morning.
All right, that one came up, just popped as one as your last one. So let's put that back.
The other one's there.
Is it there now? You're saying?
Yeah, it's just fixing the quality. Just YouTube people, not me. YouTube.
All right, let's go to that one. Change out over the browser to here. Bring it in.
Sorry, yeah, it's confusing because there's like two.
Good morning, everyone.
See, that's
the same one. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, that's this morning.
It's not showing as being available on your channel yet. 4 minutes ago, there it is. I got it. It was in the other place. One last time.
Other place. Oh yeah. Quality's a bit low because it's still upgrading it, but.
In Washington, we begin this hour with breaking news. Yet another shoot down of a high altitude object, this one in the skies over northern Canada.
Just make sure people are saying they can hardly hear it. I want to make sure. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau this afternoon gave NORAD the order to shoot it down, and a U.S. fighter jet successfully just did that. It's not clear if this latest shoot down is related to yesterday's incident off the northeastern coast of Alaska. That was near the Canadian border. Nor is it clear if it's related to the Chinese spy balloon that was shot down last Saturday. CNN's Natasha Bertrand joins us now, along with CNN's Paula Newton. Paula, what do we know about this latest shoot down? Obviously significant enough for the Canadian Prime Minister to tweet about this just in the last hour or so.
Yeah, again, and given the week we've had with these objects, it's obviously pretty predictable that Justin Trudeau would want to be fully transparent about what was going on. I mean, Jim, you and I were talking just a couple of hours ago with NORAD, right? The North American Aerospace Command observed this high altitude object, confirming that to us here at CNN. And you and I talked about it. The point was what was going to happen next. Now, given that it was over it was in Canadian airspace, it was up to Justin Trudeau to give the nod to say, yes, okay, it was done in complete coordination with the United States. He then tweeted about it saying, I ordered the takedown of an unidentified object that violated Canadian airspace. He's saying that NORAD shot down the object over Yukon. Canadian and U.S. aircraft have been scrambled. That was a U.S. F-22, and it had downed the object. This next part is significant, Jim. He also tweeted that he spoke with President Biden and that at this point right now, at this hour, Canadian forces are trying to recover and analyze the wreckage from this object. Again, it shows a couple things, Jim. The fact that they were not going to let yet more high altitude.
So we're talking about crash recovery teams, aren't we, guys?
Yep.
Literally. And they're supposed to have stuff like this already set up, at least from the United States, from the Department of Defense. It was put in place in NDAA 2022 while the government is acting like, well, look at all the stuff we had in 2023. It was supposed to be done a long time ago. And if the U.S. had their ass in gear and did what they were supposed to do based on federal law, they would have had a team to throw up on a transport and just get them out to that situation immediately. Continue on.
Objects fly over both Canadian and U.S. Airspace without taking it down when they had the opportunity. And it shows very much the close cooperation and coordination between Canada and the United States, given the fact that this is really menacing in terms of what's going on, in terms of, and again, you pointed out, we don't know this high altitude object or the other one from a couple days ago, who's responsible for that, individual, commercial, or obviously a country. But the point is, this is menacing. It is probing, and someone is trying to send both the United States and Canada a message. I also want to make clear that Canada's Defence Minister, Anita Anand, has been following the situation closely and also tweeted that she had been in contact with Secretary Austin. In fact, she was in Washington just on Friday, and the discussion really did center around how best to secure the Arctic. Now, Arctic security has been on the agenda, will continue to be on the agenda when President Biden meets with Justin Trudeau, likely sometime in March. But I mean, given what's going on here, Jim, they're going to want to take a look at what the debris is and what clues they could possibly get as to what's going on.
All right, Paula Newton, thank you very much. Natasha Bertrand is also with me, and Natasha, you've been following this.
Really quick, I just want to do a quick shout out to the official mom of the Saturday broadcast, Disclosure Tonight, Florence Tracy. I want to appreciate your wonderful super chat, and just remember that Disclosure Tonight is a 100% fan funded, and I appreciate every dollar that comes into Disclosure Tonight. Helps us keep us doing what we're doing here. I am very humbled and God, so appreciative of your support. Thank you very much, Florence, for your for being a regular viewer and supporter of Disclosure Tonight. Thank you very much. And let me get back.
All afternoon, and as well as the incident that occurred yesterday over the skies of Alaska. You have new reporting on what occurred yesterday, and I guess it might yield some clues as to what we're dealing with today. The pilots were sort of giving different accounts as to what they were looking at before that object was shot.
Yeah, Jim. I mean, on Thursday night, we were told that these pilots were sent up in F-35 jets to take a look at what this object was hanging out over Alaska, near Alaska, definitely in U.S. territorial airspace. And what we're told is that the pilots gave differing accounts of what they actually saw. Some of them said that the object that is still unidentified interfered with their plane's sensors. Others said that they did not experience that. Still others said that they actually could not identify a propulsion system for this object and did not know how it was actually staying in the air. And still, a U.S. official also telling us yesterday that this object did not appear to have any visible surveillance equipment. So it is very unclear at this point what this thing actually is. Even now, as they continue their recovery effort, they have not released any new information, NORAD, Northcom, the Defense Department, about what they have discovered about this object that essentially was shot down and then landed on ice. And, I think between the Canadian object that we're seeing today and the one that we saw yesterday, and of course the Chinese spy balloon, the question is, are these all happening at the same time or, simultaneously because we are just looking for them more, right? I mean, that could be the big question here, whether the U.S. and Canada have essentially increased their radar capabilities and kind of made it so they will not ignore objects like this, or will make it so that they can actually more proactively identify them when they do pop up. Because
that's a big point, and it's something that I've been talking about for some time here with regards to the actual radar systems. People say, why don't the FAA controllers see what's on the radar, what the pilots are seeing? Why doesn't what NORAD is looking at seeing these objects? Is because they filter all of that additional data. Well, it's positive returns. They're not letting the people who are doing the observing see everything that's there. They're only showing them a specific number of objects. We want you to see anything else. Well, don't get distracted. Don't see the things you shouldn't see.
Thomas, there's a coming up soon. They're waiting on the details apparently, but there's going to be a press briefing with the Canadian Defence
on CNN.
Yeah, that's what they just said.
All right.
But you're all right for a bit. I'll tell you when it happens, and then you don't have to change anything.
I've got CNN paused here, so whenever we need to jump to live and everything, we can
I'll tell you when.
We can go ahead and cover that, what's going on. Thomas, how do you think we got stealth tech? Well, A good point, Digger Dog. It's continued advances in technology that have been going at phenomenal rates. You bring it yourself up in one area, it has complements to others. A lot of our stealth tech is all material based, and it doesn't. We may be looking ways to go ahead and deflect and everything, but do we have the ability to create something that really thin material of how they're creating the shells of these UFOs potentially, where you've got material that's super thin, super lightweight, but it'll withstand freaking heavy forces, even guns or whatever it is, and nothing happens to it. More importantly, that kind of material, if you look at how it's put together, something that's the size of a millimeter by millimeter would cost billions of dollars to produce and take years to get there. So we clearly don't have the technology on the UFO front. Now it depends on if we're shooting these down. We'll figure out what it is. But yes, reverse engineering, Digger Dog, absolutely. Let's continue on with this clip.
Because they could pose a threat. I mean, with the Chinese spy balloon, that was something that was capable of intercepting electronic communications and spying over the continental U.S. So we'll have to see whether this is some kind of new capability the U.S. and Canada have developed here, Jim.
All right, very good. Paula Newton, Natasha Bertrand, thank you very much. And I know, Natasha, you're keeping an eye on your phone just in case anything new comes in on the American side. Paula, I know you're doing as well. With the Canadian side of things. And joining me now to talk about this further is CNN national security analyst Juliet Kayyem and David Sanger, a CNN political and national security analyst. He's also a White House and national security correspondent for the New York Times. Let's begin with this latest incident. This is just going to keep happening, I suppose, until something puts a stop to it. It's very strange. We were just talking about a Chinese spy balloon a week ago, and things have changed, I would say, dramatically. Juliet, what is going on? We don't even know what these objects are. Isn't that puzzling?
Yes, it is. And I want to just pick up on what Natasha was reporting. I mean, obviously, after the Chinese balloon incident last week, our air surveillance has increased. That goes through NORAD. NORAD is a unique entity. It is its commander reports to both the United States president and the Prime Minister of Canada. So when Trudeau calls this, it is both the Canadian and the U.S. fighter planes that take off. It happened to be a U.S. plane that brought this down. So our surveillance has increased. Our tolerance for this has lowered. So your risk calculation is going to be different. And now we ask the question: what the heck is going on? Is this testing our systems? Is it people taking advantage of what happened in China? Is it private? Is it government-based? We don't know, and we ought not to speculate at this stage about what it could be. But it's I will say people are rightful to be a little bit to view this as a little bit disconcerting, simply because it is not common to scramble airplanes to shoot down things out of the sky. And now we have 3 in the last 7 days that in my memory, I was checking right before I went online, I don't remember a single time that a Canadian Prime Minister sought NORAD to shoot something out of Canadian skies. I think this is unprecedented.
Well, that makes it clear. Wasn't Canada's military that took it down, United States. So I guess NORAD is a combination between it, but I'm probably figuring it was our fighters that flew in to take this thing out of the air.
Highly unusual, David Sanger. I mean, what do you make of all this?
Well, a few things. The first possibility is one that Natasha raised before, which is that everybody was spooked by the fact that the earlier balloon incidents, before the one that got shot down a week ago, the earlier Chinese balloon incidents, we believe, were not detected at the time, right? We know there were some over Hawaii, we know there were some over Florida. The ones that happened during the Trump administration, we only really learned about after people went back and looked at the evidence anew. So it's very possible that by turning up the sensitivity here, it's a little bit like changing the sensitivity on a magnetometer you walk through in the airport. You're going to get a lot more alarms, including probably a fair number of false alarms. Things are going to set off the system that didn't before. So that's one possibility. The second possibility is the one that Juliet just described, which is maybe someone is testing us to see just how sensitive our system is. and the decision that's clearly been made by President Biden, by Prime Minister Trudeau, is to err on the side of taking things down and showing a big demonstration of defending territory, even if it turns out that they're fairly harmless.
Taking a quick survey. We've got a lot of people out there in the audience today. Great to see everyone coming out. I just want to go ahead and throw a quick survey out there for everyone as we're watching this. I want to take a poll and see where our audience is right now. So if we could go ahead and just, let's see where we're going to go ahead and do. I'm going to ask the community. Let's see where this goes. The UFO that we're talking about and reporting on is from humanity, meaning it's from China or somewhere else. Or the other answer is not from humanity. The last time that we did this poll earlier today and yesterday, we were about 60-40, give or take. Let's see where the audience goes. Already 77 votes in. Let's go ahead and say, hey, Google, give me a timer for 2 minutes.
2 minutes. And we're starting now.
Yeah, it's staying right about the same place where we were before, about a 60-40 split. Let's see where it goes. Do us a favor, folks. Let's get out there and vote. Let's see how many people we can get in. We've got just 117 votes in, a minute 45 left in this survey to try and figure out where does the audience sit? Because there's where the panel sits, but there's also where everyone else sits. Andy? You're muted,
sorry,
my
you caught me on the hop there. Sorry, you caught me on the hop there. I was typing a reply
You're
to
coming
somebody.
across really quiet right now. It's got to be me. Check my audio here.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Okay.
Go ahead, talk about it, Andy. I'm sorry.
Yes. Sorry, no, you caught me on the hop there. I didn't
I thought
hear
you
your
were
question.
waving like you wanted to say something.
No, sorry, no.
All right. How do you vote on this? From humanity or not from humanity? One answer.
The way I'm seeing it, I'm going not from humanity.
Not
at the
from
moment.
humanity. Not from humanity. Quickly, let's go to the next person. Wes Decker. Where do you sit in this right now? Humanity or not from
More and
humanity?
more, I'm saying not from humanity. It's getting a stronger case for me.
Not from humanity, absolutely. Larry, where you sit with this, my friend?
I'm just befuddled. I don't know.
One? You got one or
Can't
the
even.
other? Just pick one.
Which one? The Canadian one?
Yeah, the Canadian one from today.
Okay. Not from humanity.
Not from humanity.
Because
Syrup,
that's
where
my
do you
heart
sit, my
wants-
friend?
I'm gonna go with not from humanity.
Not from humanity. And I think that rounds up that. We just have 17 seconds left to go. Let's see where audience takes this. Is 158 votes. You know, it's almost like earlier today with just 10 seconds left. Come on, people, vote. Get in there. Let's see where the audience wants to take it. But I think they have made their decision as far as where this sits. Let's go ahead and end the poll. Let me go ahead and take that down. Perfect. All right, Google, thank you. Let's go ahead and bring this up and throw it up on the screen. As it reminds me, I didn't take my medication this morning. Man, Thomas. Yeah, so just like early...
No, but I found these results.
Turn that off. Let's get going back into it. I'm not surprised where we're at. Good to see that our audience is, almost the same place where we were earlier, a little bit higher leaning towards from humanity. Let me take down the chat. Let's continue.
Hey, Thomas,
on.
real quick. I just thought I'd mention I'm seeing a lot of chatter on Twitter now about this, but from the people who are in my non-UFO Twitter feeds. So people so it seems like this is really starting to catch fire with the public.
Good. It needs to. Let's continue on.
And Juliet, let me ask you this, because Natasha just a few moments ago, and she's actually sitting next to me, pinging her sources so she can correct me if I mischaracterize this, that the pilots had very different descriptions of this craft in flight. And I believe, Natasha, correct me if I'm wrong about this, that she described something along the lines of they weren't sure of the propulsion system of the craft in Alaska. That sounds weird.
Yes, so not uncommon, and
Okay.
What you want to remember is their timing is very tight. They have to make the decision: are they going to shoot this thing down before it is over any areas, is what we saw before last week, that could be harmful if you shoot it down. So they have two different reporting, the pilots reporting different things, and their ability to sort of to make those make sense may have been limited. So your decision now is we're bringing it down in the safest place possible. The most important thing that they were assessing, honestly, is this thing manned? If this thing is manned, then you have a very different calculation, because if it's an ally, you don't want to shoot it down. If it's an enemy, that's going to be something very different if you do shoot it down. And all the pilots were consistent that it was unmanned. And that is actually, we sometimes forget to talk about that. That is actually probably the first thing that they're worried about.
And David, one of the things we don't know is the country of origin of these latest objects, the one over Alaska and the one over Canada. If they end up being both from China, doesn't that sort of raise some alarm bells that we haven't really been hearing for some time?
Well, it sure could, Jim. Just to pick up on one of Juliet's points here. The Friday shoot down, we don't know what the object was, but we know where it was flying at 40,000 feet. And so there was an instant justification to take it down, to get it out of the pathway of aircraft. That's obviously a big route, polar route to Asia. For this aircraft, they have not said at what height it was moving, but they did say it was at very high altitude. So it's a big difference about whether it was at 40,000 again, or whether it was up at 65,000 where the Chinese balloon was. To your question, yeah, if these turn out to be all Chinese origin or even Russian origin, you're closer to Russian territory up where these were taken, then that could well be somebody testing the system. If it turns out that they're not, or they are of corporate origin, or they really were weather balloons or something that went awry, then, this will turn out to be false alarm. But as Juliet makes a good point, if there's nothing underneath that's likely to be harmed, you have very little cost from shooting it down. The calculation made with the Chinese balloon was quite different, which is by the time we all sort of focused on it, it was already over Montana, and there was concern about what would happen if it hit a populated area.
Yeah, and I think the question moving forward is, what are these objects? And, we certainly just have to get to the bottom of that. I mean, it's just very odd that, something over the skies of Alaska about the size of a small car was taken down, and then one day later, another object taken down over Canada. As you were just saying, David, I mean, if this were not a serious situation, they probably wouldn't be shooting them down. David Singer, Julia Kayam, thanks so much for the expertise. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Interesting clip coming to us from Gary, our producer, in the back. Great conversation for what's going on.
Went back and looked.
That ends that clip of CNN. We're getting ready for a press conference to be coming out on this subject shortly from Canada. While we wait for that to come through, let's go ahead and bring up the rest of that clip. Again, looking at this from both sides, the left and the right and the left, because this is truly a bipartisan matter. And we need to say that, hey, look at this. We're getting both sides. We've actually got something that brings us together versus causing division and driving us apart. Let's listen in.
Big flex by China.
Okay, so
there's going to be billions of dollars bet in the Super Bowl tomorrow, by the way. I will bet right now that these are coming from China. The ones we don't know about. That's way too much of a coincidence.
So
and it is symbolism.
Very
this is President Xi talking to President Biden and vice versa.
So, and we also have, we want everyone to take a listen here. Watch this. This is John Kirby and General Pat Ryder for the Biden administration says that they don't know a lot about the object that the military took down, the one over Alaska.
We do not know who owns it.
We have no further details about the object at this time, including any description of its capabilities, purpose, or origin.
I want to stress again, we don't know what entity owns this object.
Again, we don't know the point of origin of this object.
We don't really understand what this object was doing.
Okay, and we do have an update here. It is from what we were being told that it was actually Canada and the U.S. that shot down this latest high-altitude object. But, Joey, just coming off of all of those very intelligent people saying that they don't know.
I don't know that I believe anything they're saying right now. Not to call them a liar. That's not the point here. Operational security is an important thing. And so maybe They aren't being told, so they can say they don't know. But I don't know who does know, and I don't know what our government does know. All I know is that the southern border is 800% more Chinese nationals coming across the southern border. All right, I know what littoral is, which is what our Marine Corps is pivoting to because we have an underwater threat. Basically, this same thing can happen underwater. We're having to worry about landmines off the coast of California right now because that's how close our enemies are getting to us. So when we talk about the average American at home, which is really all that matters.
Yeah, let me bring this up again. People are saying they want to see some videos up from Canada of the craft, the stuff that was actually in.
Really?
This is a sighting that came in earlier today up on YouTube, and we can go ahead and get into it and see a close-up of it. And it looks like there's just not one object. There's actually two. So what are we looking at here? You know, if we go ahead and take our usual method for, see if I have Pixie loaded here still. Let me go ahead and bring that up. Take a zoom in. This is a zoom in of the object. You're just seeing, just like the description was, a long cylindrical-like object. So if anything, whatever they're seeing over Canada now is aligning with what potentially was over Alaska the other day. So interesting facts all the way around. We'll have to take a look and see what some of the other YouTube channels are out there who have stuff up. Let me go ahead and continue on back in the newsroom. Here we go.
This conversation. Can you trust our military and our government to make good decisions? They have the capabilities to protect us. We know that. Can you trust them to use them and use them in a diplomatic way that prevents something terrible from happening? That's what the American people are concerned about.
So, and just to clarify here, and this is all breaking news, folks, just so everybody understands, as we're having this conversation here, we're getting in more information. And just to clarify in the control room, is it our understanding that it was, in fact, just the United States military that took this down? Okay, that's a yes. So this was not Canadian military that was involved here. It was the United States that did that. But that the Canadians were, in fact, involved in this operation.
Yeah, they said go ahead and fly over our airspace and shoot it down. They think they were going to do a joint exercise.
No, it's called NORAD. Combination of the United States, Canada. We share resources for stuff like this. So is the NORAD operation. It was taken down.
With the Canadians wouldn't make a heck of a lot of sense. What I want to know is, since you brought it up, Joey, as far as like who knows what, I would believe the commander-in-chief probably has been briefed on this. And he's not in Delaware. Like he's spent, something like 210 days in Delaware. This is the rare weekend where he is at the White House hosting a black tie dinner. Will we hear from the president? Again, throw out a little more money. No, probably not.
Well, Joe, the problem with that statement is, traditionally I would agree with you. Of course, commander-in-chief would know. This week we were told that there were, I don't know what the number is, 5 to 50. I've heard different numbers all week of these incidents that reportedly, according to the Obama administration, happened in the Trump administration, but someone in the military chain of command decided it was not worth briefing President Trump over. We interviewed, can't think of his name right now, but an acting Secretary of Defense on Fox and Friends this morning. He had the exact same reaction when he heard that, which was to call everyone else in the cabinet who all said, we don't remember that happening.
Right, like Mark Esper.
So are there people in the military that are...
Really quick, a big reminder coming in from the audience. If you're having a good time, do us a favor. Take this moment and stop and give us a thumbs up. And if you're not, go ahead and give us a thumbs down. Just give us one or the other. Hopefully it's a thumbs up. And if you're not happy, go ahead and drop us a note in the comment form below. We'll be happy to do whatever we can to improve our broadcast. More importantly, if you're having a good time, you're watching, hey, just like it says in the message I wrote below, go ahead and give us a big old subscribe. The Disclosure tonight, we're working to try and hit 5,000 subs, and would you look at that just as we're going and reminding people to go ahead and subscribe and everything. We've got
Thomas, we've got the BBC clip as well ready to go.
All right, we got that one. We just have 2 super chats that came in as well. We'll look at that 3 actually. One from Shelly Montgomery, $20, saying thank you very much, Shelly. Holy cow, I am. You took me by surprise with that one. Holy cow. Thank you, girl. Why can't I erase that up? Nope, that ain't it. There you go. All right, we got one from Shelly Montgomery for $20 that just came in. Holy cow, Shelly. Another one from Matthew Bullock saying, just got back from the pub. That's not another balloon. And then, of course, Dry Toast came in with another one saying, well, there's nothing more except dry toast. Remember, 9 out of 10 aliens surveyed prefer to have humans with dry toast. Dry toast makes everything taste better. Thank you for coming in. And I think we had one from Mr. Catfish 2100 before that I might have missed, saying, just in, Canada shoots down UFO object Yukon. And Florence Tracy gave us a wonderful super chat earlier in the night. Thank you much, Florence. We appreciate all the support that comes in the Disclosure tonight. We're a subscriber-funded show and appreciate everything that comes in. Look at that, another one coming in from Leland Joseph for $50. Holy cow. Thank you very much, Leland. We appreciate everything. Every dime that comes in goes back into our production fund. We appreciate everything that comes across. And on that note, let's go ahead and jump back to this. Thank you, everybody. I am so humbled by your wonderful love and support. Let's continue on with that. Let me turn off the music there. I didn't even start it, but all right, let's go.
Making decisions that jeopardize our national security because they've been told this doesn't go to the highest level. You know, do we know that the commander-in-chief is fully briefed at all times? What we're learning now is perhaps Trump wasn't.
That's a break of the chain of command.
Well, it is, and how quickly they tried to make it about Trump. They were able to really make that Chinese spy balloon, at least initially, didn't go as they had planned. But they said, there's ones that went over during the Trump administration, too. And so they really tried to pull that card. But furthermore, I want to talk to you guys about geographically what this says. This placement of these balloons, the Chinese spy balloon, now these unidentified objects, geographically.
Some people do, at least. I know Avi does. I guess
we're Canada over Alaska, and where they're pinpointing and what they're looking at. Joey, what are they looking at? Because you know better.
So let me go ahead. I'll go ahead and get that ready as this one's coming along. Give me 1 second. I'll have that video for you, everybody, shortly. Bring it from there. Go back to here.
Than any of us. It isn't something that we should be concerned about. I don't think that they're just looking over the Super Bowl because they wanted, good seats. They're looking over very specific areas.
It's a dome anyway. But thanks to my friend Pete Hegseth and his maps.
On that note, let's jump across to the BBC.
He's got one of those that Fox News host guy. He's got one of those faces you just want to punch.
Oh,
this is smarmy.
Now, in the past,
romantic interest in a chick flick. That's what he looks like.
Well, I guess he had something to be interested in. How about that?
The Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has confirmed that he ordered the shooting down of an unidentified high-altitude object which had been flying over northwestern Canada. He said US and Canadian aircraft were scrambled and that an American fighter aircraft shot down the object. Mr. Trudeau broke the news in a tweet, adding that Canadian forces will now recover and analyze the wreckage of the object. He thanked North American Aerospace Defense Command for keeping the watch over North America. All this comes a day after US military shot down an object over Alaska and a week after the shooting down of a Chinese observation balloon. Here's John Donnison.
It's almost a week since the US military shot down what it said was a Chinese spy balloon off the coast of South Carolina. Now the Pentagon says fighter jets like these have intercepted another unidentified object. This time in the skies above Alaska.
We have no further details about the object at this time, including any description of its capabilities, purpose, or origin. The object was about the size of a small car, so not similar in size or shape to the high-altitude surveillance balloon that was taken down off the coast of South Carolina on February 4.
Defense officials say this latest object had been flying at around 40,000 feet, close to an area called Prudhoe Bay, much lower than last week's balloon. A military transporter plane as well as helicopters have now been sent to try and recover the debris.
The Biden administration came under a great deal of political criticism, particularly from Republicans in Congress and elsewhere, for not dealing with that last balloon more quickly. And I think it's no surprise that when they found an opportunity to take a shot at whatever this was over Alaskan waters, they did so, presumably one consideration being that this was to avoid the potential circus of yet another foreign object transiting the continental United States for days or weeks.
Wreckage of last week's balloon has now been recovered and is being analysed by US intelligence. They want to do the same with whatever they find in Alaska. Meanwhile, Chinese officials have accused the US of political manipulation and hype. John Donnison, BBC News.
I'm joined now by Brendan Kearney, former military colonel from Santa Rosa, California. Again, I should say, Brendan, because we spoke just 24 hours ago about the shooting down of an unidentified object over North American airspace. And that was a week after the shooting down of a suspected Chinese spy balloon. Is there a pattern emerging?
Yes. Seemingly there is. And by the way, good to speak with you again. Although I'll be honest with you, taking a quick look at the places of these most recent shoot downs, I would think, and I may be wrong about this, but I would think that these balloons, the one shot down over Alaska and now the one here recently over the Yukon territories in Canada, I would think these balloons, if they're Chinese, they were launched before the shoot down off the east coast of the United States. It's just the time distance factor because, again, they are slow moving. So this may be part of a large number of them that are floating around out there.
And the reason why you're saying balloons is because we discussed this yesterday. You're suspecting that they came from kind of the Asian mainland because of the way the wind is going, and you suspect that this is to do with spying.
That's exactly right. And I do believe, and again, I may be wrong. I certainly don't have any specific knowledge, but I do believe it's going to turn out that these are Chinese manufactured, Chinese controlled balloons that are operating at the behest of the Chinese government.
And
yeah, but that's what they said about everything with UFOs before. That it was always Russia, 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 and we'll see. But we'll see where it goes.
The ability to identify them is coming because of the emissions that they're emitting, if I'm not incorrect about that. And that's how some of them were missed under Donald Trump's presidency, but now we're seeing more of them identified.
Yeah, that's where they're talking about. I've mentioned before earlier in this broadcast about the censoring that goes on the data of the signals that comes across. That kind of goes on. I know, Andy, you had your hand raised as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's got any information at all. He's already stated they're balloons, when yesterday's was definitely in the press release reported that it was not a balloon. So I don't think he's got any information at all. Whoever this chap is.
Oh, shoot. All right. Yeah, my audio was down a little bit. That should be better, guys. Thanks for reminding me about that from the audience. All right. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that. My audio, okay. I don't know how the hell it got turned down, but it's back now. Let's continue on with this.
Well, I think there's a number of reasons that we're identifying them now. One of those is, as you just stated, the second one would be is that the technology continues to advance. The ground intercept radars that the U.S. And our allies are now using are more sophisticated than the ones that we've used before. And then probably third and most critically is we're now looking for them. Where before I think we were concentrating on the satellites going overhead, which are free. You don't get to shoot those down according to international law. But we're now looking for balloons. So I can imagine that the North American Air Defense Command has refocused some of its technology for precisely that purpose, as opposed to something they may have just randomly done in the past, but they're now doing with a great deal of attention because they don't want to be embarrassed again.
We've also been looking at the politics of this and how quickly President Biden reacted to that object floating over Alaska. How closely do Justin Trudeau and President Biden work around this area, and how closely entwined are their security apparatuses to act fast?
Well, let me answer the second part of your question first. There has been for well over, it's going on 60 years, the North American Air Defense Command that incorporates both the U.S. and Canadian military in a very, very sophisticated line of radar stations that run through Alaska and through northern Canada, through the Yukon territory and across northern Canada. Canadian military and U.S. military are very closely together, have worked very closely together, and they really get exercised almost on a regular basis because the Russians have had a long history of trying to enter American airspace through Alaska. They probe on a continuous basis. So the two militaries are very, very close. The line of communication is exercised on a regular basis. It's very sophisticated, and it works. And the two presidents, or the Prime Minister Trudeau and President Biden, I believe they like each other. I believe that they will work very, very well together on these type of questions. And of course, the President of the United States is not going to turn down a call from our northernmost neighbor when it comes to the possibility of a threat in Canada, because that threat may flow directly into the United States.
And you said that if these were foreign objects, they may have been sent before these series of shooting downs began. Do you think by making them so public, these shooting downs, that it might deter future objects entering North American airspace?
Well, I think the embarrassment level is going to reach a point where it's just the returns are just going to be outweighed by the losses here fairly soon. So I think the balloons that may already be in the stratosphere heading towards the United States and Canada, again, for the same type of entry, they're probably gone. And they're going
A U.S. fighter jet. It's not clear at this point if the latest shoot down is related to yesterday's down.
May have some type of self-destructive advice to just knock them into the Bering Sea. I don't know. But I would think at some point here, fairly quickly, the Chinese are going to realize that this continuing black eye is not looking good for them. And I
just a quick reminder what we're talking about here right now. We've got, this is in from CNN. There's something that's going on right now, waiting for the press conference to take place. Today, the U.S. F-22 working with NORAD shoots down a craft over northern Canada. Unclear if it's related to the object shot down yesterday off of Alaska's coast, but the descriptions are kind of matching of what we heard about yesterday, what we saw in the sky today. So it's unclear if they're related, if it's a spy balloon, whatever it is. We're going to try and figure out what this is. And now we're watching a clip currently from the BBC in the United Kingdom and seeing where it's going to go.
think they're going to have to call this off.
All right, Brendan Kearney, we don't know who is responsible for these objects, but we do know that when there's an unidentified object shot in the air, we call for you. So we may be speaking to you again soon. Thanks for joining us on BBC News.
Excellent. There's the end of that clip. As that goes on, let's jump across back to Fox to watch this disabled veteran.
Yeah, I'm still keeping an eye on CNN. They're talking about something else at the moment, but they said they'll cut to it when it happens. So I'll let you know.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gary.
Morning. The trajectory of the Chinese spy balloon was southern Alaska. The trajectory of the one we shot down was northern Alaska. Alaska is a very big state. That's actually a lot of land in between.
Him in the face.
So the actual
don't like him.
Gary,
is very different.
Gary, he's a disabled veteran.
Which is why I won't just say without any type of confirmation that I know they were from China.
I'll disable him. Right look at his face. He's got one of those faces you want to punch. Look at that. He smile. Look.
And it's supposedly smaller, different in size and scope and capabilities, flying lower. For all intents and purposes, the vehicle or object is much different than what we shot down from China. And so what do we do if we're in a position where we have two foes testing our might and our ability to control our own airspace? Then what do we do?
Because as much as
you are aware, I'm on
watching,
about
the
reporter, right? Not the picture of Joe.
We will continue to cover it and bring you any more developments as they float in.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most.
All right, that brings to the end of that one, and don't piss off the audience. Yeah, a bunch. You got to remember, we've got people on both sides of the fence.
I just meant the guy on Fox News.
I know, and he's a disabled veteran. Be nice.
But he looks slimy as well.
Oh, doesn't matter. He's a weapons expert.
Hey, Thomas.
You know, either way.
Weapons expert. Isn't every Republican a weapons expert?
Potentially speaking, but you never know on that note. Let's go ahead and back into the chat and everything. Wes, interesting conversation of what's been going on. We'll have to wait and see where this is going to go. I know actually over on CNN, they were covering it again a minute ago, talking about some high altitude objects. Let me see if I can bring that.
Here's another tweet just on the topic that I think is really important to highlight from Danny Silva.
He's done it in Washington, and this.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, according to Natasha Bertrand, some pilots had trouble identifying what they saw in Alaska, and there were some reports of sensors being disrupted, as well as reports of no identifiable propulsion system. We still don't know what this is, but the story is definitely weird. I think that's the key takeaway.
Yeah, there's that sounds like a UFO and different people and sensors are hitting it differently depending on what's going on. On that note, let me go ahead and get back to here. This is another, just a quick section from CNN. Not that far ago from live. I've had the DVR paused, waiting for them to bring across with their press conference. Let me bring that across, get that adjusted for size. Let's continue.
CNN.
Welcome back to the CNN Newsroom. I'm Jim Acosta in Washington, and we begin this hour with breaking news. Yet another shoot down of a high-altitude object, this one confirmed a short time ago in the skies over the Yukon in northern Canada. President Biden and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau gave NORAD the order to shoot down that object. It was brought down by a U.S. fighter jet. It's not clear at this point if the latest shoot down is related to yesterday's downing of another object off the northeastern coast of Alaska. That was near the Canadian border. Nor is it clear if it's related to the Chinese spy balloon that was shot down last Saturday. CNN's Arlette Saenz is at the White House for us. Arlette, any chance, any indication that we might hear from the president on this? What can you tell us?
Well, we actually are expected to see President Biden in just a short while. He's hosting an event here with the nation's governors. It's unclear whether he might address this issue at the top, but the White House tonight is saying that President Biden and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau jointly authorized this operation to shoot down what they described as an unidentified and unmanned aircraft in North American airspace. I want to read you a bit of this readout from the White House, which said that the two leaders spoke and, quote, out of an abundance of caution and at the recommendation of their militaries, President Biden and Prime Minister Trudeau authorized it to be taken down. President Biden authorized U.S. fighter aircraft assigned to NORAD to conduct the operation, and a U.S. F-22 shot down the object in Canadian territory in close coordination with Canadian authorities. The leaders discussed the importance of recovering the object in order to determine more details on its purpose or origins. Now, NORAD has been tracking this object for the last 24 hours, and the White House says that President Biden was continually briefed on this matter. But of course, this comes just one day after the president had ordered the shooting down of another unidentified high-altitude object that was near the Alaskan coast. So many questions still involving both of these objects, whether there's any relation, and they're still trying to determine what exactly the origin and the purpose of these objects were. Of course, it was just 1 week ago today when the president had ordered down the shooting of that suspected Chinese spy balloon that actually ended up happening out over the waters off of the Carolinas coast. But this, right now, there are just many questions facing this administration about where this object came from, what it was trying to do, the size of the object, but it's certainly just another heightened moment as we have now seen 3 shooting downs of aerial objects over the United States, over Canada, over the course of the last week.
All right, Arlette Saenz, thank you very much. Let's bring in CNN's Paula Newton. Paula, I mean, one of the questions hanging over everything right now is what are we dealing with? These objects have not been identified. What can you tell us? What's the latest?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's certainly significance to what's developed in the last few hours. One of the things we should point out is the transparency and how quickly we heard that this object was identified and then taken down. I want you to hear from Justin Trudeau, who very quickly tweeted and said, I ordered the takedown of an unidentified object that violated Canadian airspace. NORAD Command shot down the object over Yukon. Canadian and U.S. aircraft were scrambled. Significant here, Jim, as well, that it was F-22s from the United States that he says successfully fired at the object. But Jim, I want to point out here, this was done in close coordination, and at this hour right now, on the lead of Canadian forces, they are looking at the debris field, trying to figure out exactly what this was. And as we just heard from Arlette, they had been tracking it for some 24 hours. They seemed to have an indication as to what it was and that they wanted it out of their airspace. What happens when Canadian forces can then recover what they can from this object? It is both a joint investigation with the FBI and the RCMP, the National Police Force in Canada, who will jointly determine what this was and what kind of a threat occurred here. Anita Anand, the Defense Minister, we are waiting on her. She is supposed to speak any minute. We will get more details on why they had given the order so quickly, really, to shoot this down. But crucial is what they saw, what intelligence they gathered when NORAD did scramble surveillance aircraft up there to have a look at this object. I also want to point out that Anita Anand met with Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin in Washington just on Friday, and top of mind was this issue and how they need to really modernize NORAD defenses, especially given these latest incidents with at least one Chinese balloon, but also now two other truly unidentified high-altitude objects, as they're calling them.
Right, it's not a U.S. national security issue at this point. It's a North American national security issue. Paula Newton, thank you very much. CNN's Natasha Bertrand joins us now. And Natasha, Paula was just talking about this from the Canadian perspective. What's the Pentagon?
Just want to pause that for 1 second, because that's where it kind of the rubber hits the road. It's something as we've been watching this going on all day. This is the first time they've acknowledged that there's actually two objects in the sky matching the video that we just showed on air a couple minutes ago. So there we go.
Saying at this point, do we have any new information as to what we're dealing with?
Yeah, Jim. So they have not described what this object actually was, where it came from. The Pentagon really just saying that DoD had been tracking this object since late last night. And interestingly, the object was first spotted over Alaska. So it is very similar to the object in that sense that we saw on Thursday and Friday, where the Biden administration announced that they had shot down another unidentified object just off the coast of Alaska there. Well, this object too, the one that was shot down over Canada today, was also first spotted over Alaska. So obviously that raises some questions about why action wasn't taken sooner. Perhaps it wasn't at that level of where it threatens civilian aircraft, that altitude where it threatens.
Gary, has the press conference started?
No, it hasn't yet.
Because someone says you're missing the press conference.
It's not on CNN. I can't check it anywhere
aircraft.
else.
Perhaps it was a bit higher than that, which is why they allowed it to then continue crossing into Canada and kind of monitoring it for 24 hours. But interestingly, we are learning that this was a U.S. F-22 that did shoot down this object over Canadian territory. And that F-22 was a part, of course, of kind of NORAD defenses. And President Biden and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau gave that joint order to shoot it down. And interestingly as well, it was the same missile, an AIM-9X missile that was used to shoot down this object over Canadian airspace as the previous two objects that we have seen be incursions into U.S. airspace. Of course, the first one being that Chinese balloon a week ago. The second.
Pause this and bring this around. We're going to have to update our video description, Gary, to include all these news clips for frickin' fair use. My goodness. Oh, let's go ahead.
Sorry, I only have the one American channel I can keep an eye on.
No, that's okay. To it, ABC News Live. There's a commercial. Hopefully this is breaking news. Russia.
No, it said Usher.
Here we go. Had the other show going.
I received frantic phone.
Actually, wait a second. Wrong window again. Fudge.
Turn the sound down on the ads because you don't know whether the ads have got.
Oh, I know. No, I just need to go to there, and I need to see where I'm at in the live stream. I need to take this over to Safari. Wrong browser again. Here we go. Let's go to here 1 second. Let me bring it up on this other window. Got that.
Ranj Pillay.
All right. Let's just skip back to the beginning. Breaking news, ABC News, go that way. Almost there, folks. We're almost there. I'm just skipping through it. Otherwise, here we go. All right. Someone shocked and not. Let's go ahead and play this. We've got a news conference coming in from Canada. Volume is down. Let's see, make sure the audience can hear it before I worry about myself.
Tracking
high-altitude object over central Yukon. North American Aerospace Defense Command detected this object and launched Canadian and U.S. fighter aircraft to investigate. The object was visually identified using fighter aircraft assigned to NORAD. En collaboration avec nos partenaires dont les États-Unis, le NORAD et d'autres départements, le Canada suivait un objet à haute altitude au-dessus du centre du Yukon. Le commandement de NORAD a détecté cet objet et a lancé des avions de chasse canadiens et américains pour enquêter. L'objet a été identifié visuellement à l'aide d'avions de chasse affectés au NORAD. This exemplifies what NORAD is and what NORAD does best. And I was pleased to discuss this operation earlier today with my colleague, United States Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin. Today, at the direction of the Prime Minister, aircraft assigned to NORAD successfully took down this high-altitude airborne object at approximately 3:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Aujourd'hui, à la demande du Premier ministre, des avions affectés au NORAD ont abattu cet objet aérien de haute altitude vers 15h40, heure normale de l'Est. To the best of our knowledge, this was the first time that a NORAD operation has downed an aerial object. The object was flying at an altitude of approximately 40,000 feet, had unlawfully entered Canadian airspace, and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. The object was downed approximately 100 miles from the Canada-United States border over Canadian territory in central Yukon. L'objet, volé à une altitude de 40 000 pieds, avait pénétré illégalement
and
dans
Canada's
l'espace
votes for this round of the Eurovision Song Contest go to
une menace raisonnable pour la sécurité des vols civils. L'objet était abattu à environ 100 000 de la frontière canado-américaine au-dessus du territoire canadien au Yukon. Recovery operations are now underway and will be supported by the Canadian Armed Forces in conjunction with the RCMP. This coordinated operation will allow a further investigation into this object.
So what we're hearing is the Canadians are doing their own crash recovery.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. That's a different, piece of information to take and note and understand as we look at this going forward, to say the least.
This object was 40,000 feet again as well. Same as yesterday's.
Yeah. And the visual description sounds the same as well. And, well, we saw pictures of it, potentially from someone up in Canada. Still to be, fully validated, but it's, when you're dealing with social media and people are putting stuff up, you just have to take your best judgment on what to go ahead and show. So let's continue on with this.
No further details about the object at this time, other than it appears to be a small cylindrical object and smaller than the one that was downed off the coast of North Carolina. I also spoke today with Yukon Premier Ranj Pillay and conveyed that we will continue to work hand in hand with the territory.
That's the end of that for some reason. Let me go ahead, and I've got a different one I can bring up here.
At this time. However, I will say that we are continuing to work closely with our NORAD partners and our U.S. partners, and we will make sure that we leave no stone unturned in the analysis of the data that we are now going to be turning to analyze.
Just want to get some clarity. I know you mentioned that it was downed with by U.S. and Canadian fighter jets. Is that correct? Is that my understanding? Because I thought it might just be U.S. fighter jets.
So these assets that were deployed were part of the NORAD capabilities, and they included 2 F-22s from the United States and 2 F-18s from Canada. We also have a CP-140 in the air to pinpoint the location of the debris and to assist with the next steps in the analysis and evaluation. But as I said, this was a joint operation. The decision to take down the object was made by the Prime Minister. He spoke with the President of the United States this afternoon. I also spoke with my counterpart, Secretary Austin, to ensure that we were all aligned, and indeed we were, on the need to have a successful engagement and indeed to employ NORAD to do exactly what it is intended to do.
I know you mentioned that it's too early to say, obviously, where this object is from. That's part of your investigation in terms of analyzing it. If it is found to have originated in China, what do you think the potential impact could be with regards to our diplomatic relations? I think it's fair to say they've been rocky.
Yeah, sorry about the audio, folks. The people are just really quiet for what we're hearing, so we've got to boost it as much as we can. I'll see if I can add to it, though, but we'll do our best.
Again, I will not be speculating on the origins of this object this evening. It is far too early in our analysis of the debris, as we are still collecting. We're working to collect it, as I said, in conjunction with the RCMP. So that's the first point. The second point is that in our Indo-Pacific strategy, released late last year, we did indicate that we need to be eyes wide open on China. And we will continue to do that through the policy framework of the Indo-Pacific strategy, but also, again, in conjunction with our allies in support of a transparent and present Indo-Pacific.
Yeah, my final question to you.
That's interesting. Again, now we've got it. United States has not been naming China at all. Canada comes out and says it. Clear difference in messaging that we're seeing going between the two countries. I wonder who you're going to believe, more Canada or the United States? That's a good poll question. I'll get that ready.
Thank you for being so patient. Last week, the U.S. shot down one of these balloons. They said they called it a Chinese surveillance balloon. China pushed back, saying it was a weather balloon. What is Canada's position?
This is an object. This is a cylindrical object that we shot down today. It appears to be a cylindrical object. And we are working to analyze the debris to identify more specifics about this object. It appears to be smaller in size than the one that the United States shot down off the coast of North Carolina last week. But at this point, that is the information that I can share.
Thank you. And is there anything else that you'd like to add that you think is important for Canadians to know tonight?
Yeah, before she closes, I just brought up a survey. I want to see where our audience is going to go ahead and take this one. Quick question for you. Who do you think is more trustworthy, believable about the situation that we're talking about right now? We've got just two answers exactly. Canada absolutely is where I put it. Hey, Google, give me a 2-minute timer.
All right, 2 minutes.
All right.
See, I'm going Canada because of the look of fear on our face during this entire thing.
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. There we go. There's we go. 48 votes in. I'm only going to do it for a minute, folks. So whatever we can do, we got 48 seconds left to get your vote in. But I can see where the audience is, and I'm there with it as well. Are you with that decision, Andy? Who do you vote for, U.S. or Canada? Who do you think's more truthful in this situation?
I'm not blaming Canada today. I'm going with Canada.
I'm going to go with Canada myself. W. Decker, where do you sit?
Canada, and I have to say it's because she just admitted that there's things she can't tell us.
Yep. Larry, where are you at?
Canada is leading the polls on the Eurovision Song Contest.
With just 17 seconds left, Larry, where are you at?
Canada.
Canada, absolutely. Syrup, yourself?
Definitely Canada.
Canada.
Trustworthy, nice people. So
Yeah, absolutely. W. Decker, where are you at? Just we come in just running out of time here. West? I think he voted for Canada either way. Let me go ahead and just end this poll. Would you look at that with just 96 votes in? And ending the poll right now. It shows a pretty good point of where the audience is, and it kind of, it's nice to sometimes you resonate with, sometimes you don't, but it gives you a better idea versus just getting out there and saying where it is. So on that, let me bring up for the end of this broadcast here. Let me get back to that. And here we go.
I think the importance of today's successful mission underscores the functionality of NORAD, the only binational command in the world that has kept us safe for 40 years or more. And our government announced last year that we will be modernizing and upgrading our continental defense, including NORAD. That's going to include constructing a new surveillance system called the Northern Approaches Surveillance System. That's going to include enhancing command and control. That's going to include ensuring greater research and development in this area. So this goes to show that NORAD is functioning as it should, and we recognize the need to enhance the technology that underpins aerospace surveillance.
Thanks, Minister, and we'll take another question to follow up.
Truly a groundbreaking moment. Hopefully this starts going on with more stuff that's more from China and just not potential UFOs.
Do we have any further questions from media? Est-ce qu'on a d'autres questions des médias?
Yeah, I have a question. Steve Chase.
Go ahead, Steve.
Go ahead, Steve.
Hi, Minister. The sound has been really bad for the journalists listening on the phone or on Zoom, and so we missed some key information that you gave out because about half the audio was cutting out.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that, Steve. So please go ahead and ask your questions, or I can say my whole speech again if you like.
Well, I'll leave it to the rest of the journalists on that. I just wanted to ask you, there was key information. What time was it shot down? Where roughly? Has the wreckage been found? And could you just explain what you said about the shape of the object again and how it compares to the last item shot down?
Okay. Here are the details. The object was shot down at approximately 3:41 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The object was shot down in over central Yukon and at about 40,000 feet. Is that the detail you were looking for, Steve?
Yes, and have you found the wreckage? And can you just describe it again? You talked about the shape of it, and you compared it to the previous two items that were shot down in this month.
So we have a CP-140 that is actively pinpointing the site of the debris now. And so that is a process that is underway, given that this was just shot down hours ago. But as I said, it was shot down in central Yukon. So that is the area of reconnaissance that the CP-140 is at. In terms of the description of the object, we believe that the object is cylindrical in shape. It appears to be smaller than the one that was shot down off the coast of North Carolina. We are, as I said, with public safety, recovering the object to discover more details, including the shape and the size of this object. So we will have more details to share in the days to come, but we wanted to share what we know right now, and that's what we're doing.
Thank you, Minister. We'll take another question from journalists on the line. If you're on the line, please press *6 to unmute. We'll go to the next question now.
This is Lee Berthiaume.
Minister, it's David Coleman. Sorry, Lee, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, David. I wanted to ask this, maybe a silly question, but I think it's on, didn't think I'd ever ask this question. Is there any indication that this object is not terrestrial, is not from this world? Or is it too early to say anything on that front?
You're right, I have not had that question, Lee, so thank you for asking it. From all indications, this object is potentially similar to the one that was shot down off the coast of North Carolina, though smaller in size and cylindrical in nature. That is the information that we are working with right now, but with further analysis, we will know more and be able to provide you with more details.
So just to confirm, so it sounds like it potentially was another balloon. Is that what we're being led to believe here?
I will refer to the item as an object at this time. I am a person that depends on facts and will not provide opinions until I can ground them in some sort of fact. So I'm going to wait for the reports that I will be getting relating to the analysis of the debris. We have a CP-140 in the air, ensuring that we are locating the debris. We have a very close relationship now with public safety.
Andy, you had your hand up? I guess not.
And Minister Mendicino as well and I are working very closely to make sure that the recovery and the analysis proceeds as it must so that we can get more information. And I will come back and provide more details and more explanation once we have that.
Thank you. We'll take the next question.
And Minister Mendicino as well.
Paul Rivera, Wall Street Journal. Why did the U.S. fighters plane shoot this down as opposed to Canadian?
As opposed to separating it out by country, I think what the important point is that these were NORAD capabilities. This was a NORAD mission, and this was NORAD doing what it is supposed to do. And what we wanted to do with the F-22s and the F-18s is to make sure that we had sufficient assets in the air to ensure a successful engagement. And that, in fact, was the tenor of my conversation with the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, this afternoon, as well as my conversation with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's main goal today was to make sure that we got this object out of the air and that we could analyze it, and that's exactly what happened through the use of NORAD capabilities.
And a follow-up?
Maybe I can just jump in here, Minister. It's David Coleman with CBC News. And
to make sure that we...
Forgive me if this was in the portion before that we weren't able to hear.
Man, this is just such an evolving event to be able to watch it as it takes place. Very freaking cool. You can actually share it. Appreciate everybody coming out in the chat and everything, the conversation.
Sure. We had both U.S. and Canadian assets involved, as I just described, the F-22s and the F-18s. And the F-22s originated in Elmdorf, Richardson, Alaska, and our F-18s from Cold Lake in Alberta. And we'll have to recognize that there are contextual elements in the deployment of aircraft in this particular instance that we need to take note of. First of all, visual sighting. When we first started tracking this object, it was dark, and we needed to make sure that we had a visual of it, and so needed to wait for daylight to emerge. Secondly, we needed to make sure that there was infrared or missile lock capability, and that was something that both the F-22s and the F-18 pilots were working on together. So as I said, it was a NORAD mission, it was NORAD capabilities, and our armed forces worked very closely with the U.S. Armed Forces to ensure a successful downing of this object that we had concern about. For more specifics, I will ask the Chief of Defense Staff, General Wayne Eyre, who's with me this evening, if he would like to add anything. General Eyre?
No, thanks, Minister. And David, to go to the specifics of your question, it was an AIM-9X missile from the F-22. Now, it's important to note that the instructions that were given to the team was whoever had the...
I've got to stop this right here, right now. I know this is some great stuff, and I'll rewind 5 seconds or 10 seconds so we can get up to this. Here's the specific thing that we flew. Here's the missile we use. Here's how it performed. Have we ever heard anything like this from the good old US of A military? Or are they all very, very vague about everything?
Well, in fairness, they did tell us the same thing last night.
Did they exactly?
Yeah, same missile, same plane.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, Thomas, can I kick in?
Specifics.
Sorry, Thomas, can I kick in? I didn't unmute myself. She's linking it to the North Carolina balloon incident from the other day. She's not linking this to what happened yesterday, yet it all seems to be the same incident, the same object, the same height. This is what it's looking
Same
like.
height, different object.
Different object, yeah, but along the same lines. But what she's saying there is she's linking it with the North Carolina balloon incident.
Yeah.
Which we know was a balloon. This, we don't know what both of these objects are.
Absolutely. It's, well, the only way actually, we may not know, but I think the governments have a good idea of what it is. And it just comes down to them it's kind of the stuff of saying, well, if we know that we know that you know that we know, and that whole kind of a thing back and forth of the counterintelligence aspect of it. But it's just, it's kind of the obvious things. It's going to be there. Yeah, they're going to find it. Yeah, whatever it was there is going to get recovered. And I'm sure they have a contingency plan for any of this, but let's move on with this.
Your question, it was an AIM-9X missile from the F-22. Now, it's important to note that the instructions that were given to the team was whoever had the first best shot to take out the balloon had the go-ahead. It's also important to note that all the aircraft were under the direction of Canadian NORAD region. So a Canadian general in Winnipeg was overseeing this operation, albeit in a NORAD context. I've had multiple conversations with my U.S. counterpart, General Mark Milley, today, as well as numerous briefings from Commander and Deputy Commander of NORAD down in Colorado Springs to discuss all aspects of this operation.
Thank you. We'll take the next question. La prochaine question, s'il vous plaît.
Hey, Thomas, can we pause for half a second?
Yes, sir.
Hi,
I just wanted to point out that he made a little slip up that almost felt intentional to me. He specifically said that they had instructions to whoever had the best shot to take out the balloon. That felt to me like they were told to say balloon on purpose to make that it just felt disinfo-y to me. Maybe I'm just projecting, but since everybody else has been so careful to call it an object, for him to say balloon so casually like he did, maybe it was just a slip of the tongue, but I could see the interplay between different parts of the military saying we need to play this down. You go up there and say balloon.
Different military organizations.
True.
United States versus
I'm
China.
grasping at straws.
Yeah, I got you, buddy. A really great observation, to say the least. Yeah, it's great pickup too. You know, a lot of these things, it's worth going ahead and just scrubbing through them again and just finding. There's a lot of great little, if you want to call it, blurbs that are there and things that are being said that'll be able to use us. That we'll be able to use going forward for the fight for disclosure. Something that's really important.
Absolutely.
Mac McSwinney with City News. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
The Liberal Party website has that the Prime Minister was scheduled to be holding a fundraising event in Yukon this weekend. I believe it's supposed to be held tomorrow. Is there any belief from the government that this object flying over Yukon and the Prime Minister's presence in Yukon?
Somebody in the chat has said that the FAA has locked down part of Montana for national security, the airspace. I'll look into it now. That's if I'm allowed to.
Yeah, of course. Why would you not be allowed? Why would you not be allowed?
I didn't know whether it was offensive. I'm looking now.
Thank you, sir. So, yeah, interesting. I need to get Gary to get a dot matrix printer too. So hold on. Let me go ahead and get this going.
Same time, is a coincidence? Is there some relation there?
I am aware that the scheduled fundraiser is on the books, and indeed I spoke with the Member of Parliament from Yukon, my dear friend Brendan, about this, who's looking forward to receiving the Prime Minister. We are not tracking at this point information relating to the object. Frankly, we were concerned to get it out of the sky, and that was our focus all day. Indeed.
Yeah.
I can confirm it's true. The United States closes airspace over north central Montana, Notam State's national defense airspace. The FAA statement says the FAA closed some airspace in Montana to support Department of Defense activities. Contact NORAD for additional information.
Interesting to say the least. Holy cow. Let me go ahead and fix this chat here. Losing the window. Controls everything. There it is. Catches up. And sorry about that. This chat was stuck. Got a couple super chats that came in when I was not expecting it. One from Mr. Catfish 2100. 1 second here. Let's go ahead and just thank the guys for that really quick.
Hey, can I piggyback on what Gary just announced?
Yeah, 1 second. Mr. Catfish 2100 is saying Canada didn't wait. They blew that BS into pieces, and then wow, 600 in the chat, crazy. Yeah, it's been a crazy day today, X1. Thank you very much. Appreciate the love at 555. Remember, everything we do at Disclosure tonight is funded by our viewers, and I'm very humbled and very thankful for your support. As we get along and continue on this breaking story, you were saying, West?
Just a quick update on what Gary just announced. The United States, so they have declared Montana's skies as an international defense airspace, which means the United States government may use deadly force against airborne aircraft to determine that the aircraft poses an imminent security threat.
Where are you reading this at?
This is coming from Breaking News Live, and I got it from Klaus on Twitter.
It's on Twitter. Cool. Thank you very much on that. I think someone else just joined here as well. Tim, are you around?
He came and went.
I don't know. What happened? Oh, so he's
hand up and went.
Yeah.
Tim, come back to us.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I didn't realize I could do that. I can actually get a couple people to pop up in the box at once. Now, they're going to be too small, so you're not going to be able to see it, but there we go. Anyway, let's continue on with this clip, shall we?
In the past 24 hours. And so any further information will come with the analysis that we are doing regarding the debris.
And in terms of the analyzing of the wreckage, the U.S. is analyzing its wreckage and will be analyzing ours. I assume we'll be sharing information between both governments, but will this go beyond just the U.S. and Canada? What other countries might be involved in examining this, getting the intelligence around this? I assume the Five Eyes allies, but if you could confirm that for us as well.
Well, this is, of course.
All right, little break up on breaking into the news conference. This is just coming out from Klaus over on Twitter. Let me make sure this is going to be big enough for us all to see here. Let me zoom this up.
Yeah, that's the one I was reading.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring the document up in size and take a look. So DOD just classified Montana skies as an international air defense. Let me clear up the screen a little bit for this a little bit better. Let's. There we go. I'll deal with it where it is. All right, the United States government may use deadly force against the airborne aircraft if it is determined the aircraft possesses an imminent security threat, which pretty much means they can blow up whatever they want, because anything, as we know, is a threat to security in one way or the other, including Canadian geese.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is probably the first time we've done this since 9/11.
Right, so FAA closes airspace around Havre, Montana. Let's take a look and see where the hell that is.
Why Montana, though? Is there anything?
Yeah, there's
there's
probably a bunch of nuclear missile sites in Montana.
Yeah, we have those nuclear missile sites. That's where the incident happened back in the 70s, where they shut the nukes down.
That's where Alex said he spent a lot of time up there. I bet he knows.
Yeah, that's where Maelstrom is, right?
I think so.
Here's Havre, Montana. We'll go ahead and bring that up. Let's take a look on the map of the United States. Well, that's where that is. Should give everybody an idea of, here's the United States. That's up near the Canadian border. Interesting. Of course, it drops it. And there we go. I wonder if there's any kind of military sites near Havre, Montana, that they would shut it down. So back to, where was on that? So let's see if we can make this viewable at all. Let me just take one image down.
Do this, though, it would indicate that they must have another object in that area right now.
Yeah. What the hell is going on? So if we see airspace, Havre, Montana, temporary flight restrictions. You guys can't see that. Bring it around. There we go. Pursuant to U.S. 49 CUSC, the Federal Aviation Administration classifies the airspace defined in this NOTAM as international defense airspace. International defense. Pilots who do not adhere to the following procedure may be intercepted, detained, and interviewed by law enforcement and security personnel. Any of the following additional actions may also be taken against a pilot who does not comply with the requirements or any special instruction or procedure announced in this. NOTAM. A, the FAA may take administrative action, including imposing civil penalties, or the United States government may pursue criminal charges, including charges under 49 U.S.C. Section 46307. Let me zoom this in and make it so I can scroll up and down. Take it down a little bit.
Hey, Thomas, one thing, too, on this, these restrictions are more geared towards civilian pilots who might try to enter the area from
right.
the other.
They're basically locking it down, but it says, you know, if you don't take care of this, if you do not comply, we are going to throw the frickin' book at you. So,
I used to be a pilot, and I can tell you with one experience, because I was up in the air once when Air Force One was in my area. They take that shit real seriously, and they will send a fighter to establish visual communication with you if you don't respond via radio.
Let me get Google Earth.
Thomas, in the chat, I've put a link to a picture that somebody's put on Twitter of flight radar at the moment.
Which chat?
In the show chat.
The show. Okay, let me get that out. Give me 1 second here, folks. That's over there. Oh, there. Gotcha.
Seems to be tracking a Boeing KC-135.
Oh, the show chat.
Stratotanker.
Literally the show chat. Okay, I was
Yeah.
thinking like...
Oh, there's a Stratotanker?
Yeah, it's a Stratotanker.
So that means they're there to refuel whatever.
I can't get
stealthy jets
to it
we're not
easily.
seeing.
Where did you put it? Which show chat?
The one where everybody is.
Oh, there it is. All right.
Wow, that's awesome.
Interesting to say the least. So there's from Flight Radar 24, this is a picture showing that there's actually, let me bring that down there.
Great catch.
It's over Great Falls.
All right, so let's bring this out here. Let's go ahead and take a look where that is. I'll go away for now. All right, let me move this to the right so you can see it better. Sorry, getting blocked by W. Decker there. So that's where we're at. So this is by Great Falls, Montana. I'll bring that up now as well. Sorry if my mic hasn't been close. Great Falls, Montana. Let's zoom into that part of the United States. So zoom out, keep on going. Well, that's where it is in relation to Minnesota, directly to the west. It's basically it's around
to the west of St. Olaf.
Yeah. Now, you got to wonder what is near Great Falls. I guess we could go ahead and then say back to here and go to. I want to see maps. They don't have it. I want, Jesus Christ. Maelstrom is there. Off. There you go. There you go. Maelstrom Air Force Base. Oh, oh my God. This is getting bigger, isn't it? Did I lose your audio chat, or have you lost your?
Yeah, where are they gone? I can't hear them.
Yeah,
I'm here. I'm in a bit of shock at the moment.
Oh, this is cool. So they've shut down the airspace. They've made it so nobody can go out there, and it's near Maelstrom Air Force Base. Okay. All right, so we've gone down that rabbit hole. It's by Maelstrom, back by Google Earth. Let's get out of here. And somewhere I had a Twitter page from Tiny Klaus. Where the hell did I do with that one now? Just open it again. What the hell? What doesn't hurt? Wait, I had notifications here. What's going on over here as well? Sheesh, let's just take a look. Hold on. Yeah, not that one. All right, let's go to the next one. Tiny Klaus. Go to his site again. So, DoD classified Montana skies as international defense airspace. It's over Great Falls in that area. They're calling it Havre, but it's basically by Great Falls. That's where that is. So, if we look in the proximity on the map of where this jet took off from, it took off from over here, and it's circling over in this particular area. So I guess it's then looking at, if I say Great Falls, how far is Havre from Great Falls? So Havre, Montana is northeast of Great Falls. So the whole area is still shut down. But, well, yeah. So the area surrounding Havre was what was described, but it's far enough away, but it's still within the zone, and we've got planes like that hovering, going over the missile site. A very historic missile site, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is amazing.
Remember, Maelstrom is where they've got the tanker going over. So Maelstrom it's an Air Force base. So for whatever reason, over the Army Air Force base, they've got their tanker up, circling.
Thomas, Tim saying that he can update you with more details if you can call him.
He can't join the chat.
The link's at the top of the chat.
You joined in before, Tim.
You can do it.
You can do it. It works on iPhones. It works on Android.
You can do it.
I'm going to chip in. Sorry. What's interesting me, it looks like this plane's flying with no call sign either, which is very unusual.
Oh,
not for a military flight, I don't think.
Okay. I'll say.
But what's interesting is that their transponders obviously on. That's why we can see them, but with no call sign. You're right. That is kind of a weird thing. But I have a feeling there's fighter jets up there that we're not seeing at all.
Yeah.
Well, someone said it's doing the racetrack pattern, and that's why, and they only do that to refuel other jets. That's what someone said in the chat. I don't know.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
That makes sense to me too.
So whatever's going on, there's an air operation going on because you have fighters that are up in the air, probably performing at peak, and they're going to need fuel for whatever they've got going on.
Well, and I think standard procedure is generally you fly them into the area as fast as possible and then refuel them before their mission.
Gotcha. Holy cow. Happy Saturday, everybody. For anyone who's joining us late, yeah, we've been going a little bit longer than usual today. It's been an unusual day, followed by another unusual day, but we're trying to track this situation as it evolves. It's pretty enjoyable to be able to take all the skills and everything we've been working on for so long, and finally we've got some major things happening all around us at the same time. Let's see if there's anything else before that. This is getting ridiculous.
Thomas, Sensibil has put in a link in the chat for a detailed flight tracking program he uses. Might be worth having a look.
Yeah.
Sensibil.
Okay.
This is why we need like a full studio and a staff of.
Oh, that one there. Yeah, there's a map. Zenzabil, call in. Tell me what the hell tell me where I should drive this car. All right. Well, when we come up over here, Montana, there should be a big empty area, and let's see who's flying around in this area.
Yep, you're doing just fine, Thomas.
I should get
Federal Express. I can't. Here's Havre. Here's the area where they shut it down. And who do
I bet you that plane in the.
There you go. There's one of them. This is a U.S. Air Force Stratotanker. There it is. We found it.
Yep, he's circling.
So that's a Stratotanker. That is a Air Canada flight. That's another one. You can see it diverted to go around it, whatever's going on.
Exactly. What about that one that's coming in from the south?
Over here?
Yep.
That is a WestJet.
But he's diverting. Look, he's starting to turn.
Yeah. Not then. He hasn't done it yet. He will. And there's the tank. No, that's in Air Canada. So it's the area up in here that they've locked down.
Right on the border.
Yep. The day just continues on, and
man, chat, Gary, Thomas, you guys are rocking it.
Zenzabil says there are filter settings to the right. You want to highlight MLAT.
Filter settings to the right. Search, jump to airport. All right, filters. Got it. I want to look for MLAT.
LAT.
Okay.
Is there a save?
I've done. Is there an apply button here?
We're noobs to this website.
All right. Filter source by MLAT. Not, you know what? Let me go ahead and.
It's all right. You can leave it the way it is. We're able to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to call in, Zenza, you can.
Oh, Mike T's coming in. Mike, welcome, Mike. How you doing?
Yeah, good.
So I tried. It's not working for me out here. I'm at a hotspot. Gear, Starlink, blank. Tell you where via text. Saw the update about the incursion. Cat in Montana has been confirmed. That has been confirmed as another Tic Tac. They're going to take it down the next hour. There are 2 more happening right now. Getting details on their location. One might be in Washington area, waiting for confirmation on that. My contact laughed and said it's an invasion.
Someone mentioned in the chat, they said unofficially they just sent a bunch of F-15s in the air. I don't know why they'd be F-15s, but that's what they said.
Well, maybe that's what they have in the area.
Right, okay.
If they've deployed any alert aircraft, they would not be squawking. So you would not, they wouldn't show up on the ABS.
Right. So Joe Monk's saying most military flights don't even show up on Flight Radar 24. If they do, they don't show a call sign.
Yeah. And as for other aircraft being involved, besides like F-22s, I know Chris Leda was mentioning the other day that the Air Force likes to use any opportunities they can for mixed generation fighter training. So,
right.
They may be deploying aircraft of multiple types because this is giving them a live scenario to practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting, to say the least. Happy Saturday, everyone who's jumping in. So we were watching something and we jumped down a rabbit hole.
The Canadian Defense Minister?
Oh, yeah, that was over on... Is around here somewhere. I know she is. Find those windows. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Of course, an issue of concern to both Canada and the United States, and the analysis of the debris and the information relating to that analysis will, I am sure, be shared amongst all parties concerned, NORAD, the relevant players in both the Canadian and the U.S. government. So there's excellent cooperation amongst us all now, and this will continue. As I said, we continue to reiterate the importance of our collaboration relating to the protection of the skies over the North American continent, and that's exactly what we
and then tracked it as it went
In terms of the broader information sharing possibility, I will say that we work extremely closely with our Five Eyes allies, and we certainly have been doing so over the past year especially. And I will say that I will be at the defense ministers meeting in Brussels next week, and we will continue to share information with our allies as necessary, again, to ensure that we have accurate information and that we are doing whatever we can in the protection of our allies more generally.
Thank you, and we'll take a final question now from the line. Please press *6 to unmute yourself. Thank you.
If nobody else.
Minister Anand, News Nation in D.C., you mentioned that we were waiting for daylight for sighting and for infrared missile lock capability. Was that daylight not sufficient enough to allow us to determine whether or not this was a balloon or not?
The importance of the visual sighting and the infrared missile lock, again, as you mentioned, and as I mentioned, it's paramount. But the purpose of the mission today was to take down the object. And it wasn't possible to analyze that object at the exact same time. And so we are being extremely prudent and careful relating to the next steps, which is why we're working, the Canadian Armed Forces are working so closely with the RCMP and with public safety.
Could this be the UFO distraction tactic to have us forget about the thing that we just blew up over in the Nord Stream pipeline? Is this the new distraction?
Thomas, that story came from the Russian Foreign Ministry. That's not a good source.
You never know. Well, no, not really.
But one thing about what she just said about this whole daylight thing, I would point out to everyone that it is dark now in Montana. So that daylight story is not making a lot of sense given we are doing something over the skies of Montana now.
Yeah, I know, but this is about Canada, not about Montana.
Well, it's over on the border, right?
No, this is the one that happened above Alaska they're still talking about.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that we're now engaged with one of these, it looks like, over the skies of Montana during the nighttime.
Yeah. It's crazy stuff. Holy cow. I mean, it's talking about Montana, bring that up again. Or are we looking in the United States where all this stuff is going on? Bring out the map. There we go. In the United States, we're kind of looking at right here. Oh, God, sorry about that. I got to look at my screen for what you're seeing now, what I'm seeing. So if we have the overall map of the United States of America, we're kind of talking about it at the top of the country. Aubrey, there we go. That's the airspace where it's been taken in. There's nothing really out there. It's a lot of open land. We have Air Force bases. Right to the southwest of that, we have Maelstrom Air Force Base. Again, interesting times to say the least. Let's go ahead and get back to finish this off. Last question.
Ensure that we extract the debris, that we analyze the debris and any information that may be associated with it. So at this point, we can say that it appears to be a cylindrical object, smaller in size than the object that was shot down off the coast of North Carolina, and further details relating to this object will be forthcoming as soon as we have them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Merci, Madame la Ministre. C'est ce qui ferme notre conférence de presse pour aujourd'hui. This is what today's press conference. Thank you, and we will wish everyone a great night.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
Interesting to say the least. We're in interesting times. It's something that, this is a video that was shot earlier today of those objects. I believe this is up from Canada. This is fly at a high altitude. These are some of the things that people are observing. We had two. I mean, Canada had taken down their objects, the two of them, earlier today, and now we're at a point where we've got other objects over Montana. Is this a false flag invasion? What's really going on? It's going to be interesting to say. It's interesting to speculate, I guess, but it's more importantly waiting for some more information that's clear on what's truly been going on. Let me go ahead and jump across and double check where we are over on the land of CNN. Give me a second here. Check my feed. All right.
Eastern. Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.
Mesothelioma. All right, let's go ahead and click forward a little bit on this.
Those are migrants sleeping on the street of El Paso.
Millions face a flooding disaster in California.
Canadian Defense Minister says today's shooting of a high-altitude object in Canadian airspace is the first time that NORAD has shot down an aerial object. Natasha Bertrand joins us now on the phone. Natasha, what was NORAD's role in all this? What's the latest in terms of what you can...
CNN, they're actually talking about the closing down of the airspace. It's just come out.
Are they?
Yeah.
Real time here in the United States. We haven't hit it yet.
And this is CNN.
It's here. After
okay. Let's leave it catch up for a little bit because I don't want to be broadcasting live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great show today. I appreciate everyone hanging out and all being a part of this.
I love how everybody complains when CNN comes on, but in all fairness, we have covered every single possible one we can.
Yeah, we're trying to
CNN,
yeah.
BBC, Sky.
This is a topic. This is something that's bipartisan. So we're going to be hearing people from both sides of the aisle talking about this. But the thing is, when everybody's talking about it, we're all on the same page. Mm-hmm. It's not like one side is saying it's, well, Jesus and angels and demons.
Hallelujah.
No, we're all calling them out for what it is.
Yep.
And we're just trying to find the facts where we can find them.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. So again, this is joining CNN and checking this coverage about what's going on as far as the airspace that we reported on earlier before CNN did. We scooped it before they did, talking about the airspace that was shut down near Havre, Montana. And as we jump across back to the news, actually, let's take the news, put that on top of here. Aha. All right, perfect.
Breaking news into CNN, we continue to cover the downing of an unidentified object earlier today over the skies of Canada. We are learning that the FAA right now is closing some airspace over Montana for Defense Department activities. That is the latest coming into CNN at this very moment. We're learning the FAA is closing more airspace over Montana. Natasha Bertrand, she joins us now on the phone. Natasha, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Jim, so we are just learning that the FAA has restricted some airspace in Montana for, quote, national defense airspace. And it is not immediately clear the reason for this, but the FAA has made similar flight restrictions in recent days when operations took place to shoot down the spy balloon last week and the object on Friday near Alaska. Now, CNN has reached out to the FAA, Northcom, and the Department of Defense for comment on this, but it is obviously very notable that this closure of the airspace over Montana has happened roughly a few hours only after we saw that object shot down over northern Canada. That object had originated over Alaska and was flying towards northern Canada when it was decided by President Biden and Justin Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, that they would shoot it down. So still unclear what the reason would be for the FAA to be shutting down this airspace over Montana. But of course, Montana is where we saw that Chinese spy balloon enter the United States just last week, Jim.
And Natasha, I mean, you just made the point a few moments ago, but just to expand upon that, obviously the FAA would not close airspace over Montana for Defense Department activities if we were talking about the same object that was shot down hours ago over the skies of Canada. So it appears, we're reading between the lines here, that we may be talking about a different object of some sort.
Potentially, Jim, and we don't have that reporting yet. We don't know why this airspace has been restricted, but yes, it would be very, very unlikely that this would be related to the shoot down of an object all the way in northern Canada, right? It would be very unlikely because the jets that were scrambled for that object when it was shot down were scrambled from Alaska and from Canada. So this restriction over Montana is certainly very interesting, and we'll just continue to monitor it for updates.
All right, Natasha Bertrand, thank you very much for a long day of coverage. We appreciate it. Joining us now, coming back to us now, is CNN transportation analyst Mary Schiavo. I hope you put on another pot of coffee. We're thinking about doing the same over here. Mary, of course, a former Inspector General for the Department of Transportation. The FAA restricts.
So yeah, similar conversations we've been saying here as we covered this a little bit ago. CNN went and had it and covered the documentation. We've actually brought it up and shown it to you. The actual, this is initially coming from BNO News Live. Remember, it's.
Or is this starting to feel like the beginning of the movie Signs? When all the UFO reports started coming out and then they started getting glued to the TV?
Oh my God, I just had PTSD of that bloody birthday party footage.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, no. No.
Could this be the moment we've all been waiting for?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I hope not. I'm hoping to see ABBA live in August.
Oh, we've all been saying we're ready for it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, look positive towards it. Take it. Larry.
I don't feel very confident about that because these objects didn't display extraterrestrial capabilities, and so I'm afraid that it's just something man-made. But then again, who's driving these things and why? That wouldn't make sense for China to taunt us like that.
But here now, you have all these different craft that are coming in the skies over the United States and now Canada. Question is, have they been going on for a while and we've just been ignoring them? Or is this something new where there are a bunch of things going on where, honestly, the sovereignty of the airspace over the United States and Canada are being invaded by a foreign power?
What if that foreign power is just a ancient power that's been here longer than we have?
Well, in that case, they may be our landlords.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good term, landlords. That came from 2010, the year we make contact at the very end.
Did it? No, I was
all these new bills are yours, but make no contact on IO. And it was signed the landlord. So it was like Adam and Eve all over again. Don't take from this one tree.
Yeah. That's good. That's really good. Absolutely. Gotta have a good way to look at all of this stuff. My goodness. The day continues on. I've got this pause up for a little bit. Let's go ahead and continue on and see where we're at. I'll keep on seeing what's going up. Yes, sir.
One more thing. I wanted to reiterate what what's his name said there. He said that it's possible that this is a new object because the other object is pretty much taken care of, the one that was over Montana.
Yeah.
So if they're locking it down now, they must have seen something new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
But remember when the one thing we saw something shot down in Montana? And they thought that was from the balloon, but someone saw something shot down a week ago, last Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, because there was that two Twitter posts about it. And
right.
one said that he tried to drive up on the crash debris and the National Guard was blocking his way and told him to turn around.
So something we could potentially say at this point, based on observations from citizen observations, we'll go ahead and call it that what's going on now is potentially an escalation of what was seen. Was that a week ago? How long ago was that, Wes? So was that?
Yeah, that was a little over a week ago.
Because I was on Saturday Night Live, so it was right around that time frame, and they covered it. But yeah,
I think Joseph got his hand raised as well.
Go for it, bud.
Hey guys, you know what? I just have an eerie feeling that between last week and what's going on right now is a false flag op. This is actions of desperation, knowing that disclosure is imminent, and they're just doing anything they can to misdirect, confuse, and produce as much of an amount of fear as possible.
Yeah.
But
nothing we've had.
Oh no, the aliens are coming.
But there's nothing here. There's nothing that's been said of as far as what's been going on.
The airspace is now reopened.
Oh, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Restricting airspace in Montana for national. Of an object shot down off the coast of Alaska yesterday.
The direction it's going.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Gary. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll have to see where it goes. Let's go ahead and.
That wasn't from CNN. I got that from Twitter. FAA says Montana airspace has been reopened. The Department of Defense operation will start again tomorrow morning.
Oh. Okay. Well, it's not over.
So they're pausing for the evening.
Yeah, the aliens are having a nap. They'll get round to it in lunch.
They found themselves a good buffet and decided to stop.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. As the time goes on, holy cow, what a great show it's been going on today. Usually we just go on, we start up at frickin' 2 and it's going on. We go to 4. Cupcake is not getting the attention she needs today, but that's okay for this one. This is a special occasion of what's going on. Believe it, we still have about 600 people in the chat. Do us a favor, if you're watching, having a good time, go ahead and give us a good old thumbs up. And if you're not having a good time, then there's things we could do better. And I know I'm not the best at audio, but I try to do my best. Go ahead and give us a thumbs down, but more importantly, give us one or the other. I'll take either one that you want to give us. And then if you're going to give us a thumbs down, at least go ahead and give us comments in the discussion below this on YouTube, and let us know, and we'll do what we can possibly do to try and improve this free broadcast. Interesting times.
Hard to improve what you did today, Thomas. It's hard.
I can read out. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's hard to improve on what you did today.
Well, thank you, sir.
The way you handle your browser and the audience and all these clips and then all these alerts from Gary. Gary was on it today.
Thank you.
So really, thank you, Gary, for that.
You, Gary, and thank you, Tom.
Gary.
Thank you. I've got an update from Reuters if you want me to read it.
Yeah, where's it at? You want to read it?
Yeah, I'll read it. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration said late Saturday it had reopened some airspace in Montana after it was briefly closed for undisclosed Defense Department activities. The FAA had issued a notice temporarily barring flights in the area about 50 by 50 nautical miles around Havre, Montana, or is it Havre? I don't know, near the Canadian border, and classifying the area as National Defense Airspace. The FAA said just before 8:30 p.m. ET, ironically, the airspace had been reopened. The FAA declined to say whether the directive was related to another suspected balloon or object. The FAA issued similar actions in response to the suspected Chinese spy balloon that crossed the continental United States from Montana to South Carolina and was shot down earlier this month. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I have an idea then. I think what they're doing, since they closed down for the evening, that means they're not really in hot pursuit of anything, and they're not in hot monitoring of anything, but what they're probably doing is trying to prepare better for the future. Well, no, but why would it be located in that one area? Yeah, I don't know.
The United States doesn't just take down a section of airspace and just all of a sudden go ahead and just close it off and say, okay, we're done with it.
Yeah, no, that's a serious move.
Now, there's something about Oklahoma going on?
Sorry, catch a couple of comments in chat. I'm just looking at NW in chat has just said another object over Montana confirmed. And Andrew K reports over Oklahoma now in chat.
Holy smokes.
About half a minute ago. If you scroll up, it's still in chat.
Maybe it's a good time for people to step outside with their cameras.
Think so.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. It's one of those days you just have to look what's going on and just understand there's a lot happening. And it's an ever evolving story as the day goes on.
You know, wasn't it?
What a roller coaster!
Asking for a mass sighting the other day.
What about the mass sighting I've been talking about for a while?
Weren't we asking for a mass sighting the other day?
It's been needing for a while, but we're talking about like thousands of craft coming down all around the world at the same time. Now we just have something that's going on. But one thing I have been saying is there's enough phones out there that have decent enough cameras, and social media and everything else is strong enough. If this can get into the regular, network of where majority of the people can get through, the more people that can go out and actually capture these things and start sharing it. And that's the biggest thing we could possibly have in any kind of a situation like this,
Also, aliens is trending on Twitter right now.
So seriously, if you got one of these, just be prepared if something goes on, or you hear about something going on in an area where you have family members. If you have people who live in Montana, tell them to go out, call them on the phone now, tell them to go outside and look up and look around. And if they see something, freaking share it. And that's where, although we can't be everywhere, and there's not a lot of people like us who are, trying to see what's happening with this, we can act as a community and reach out to people who we don't know. Who we do know, who might not be at the same level of where we're at, but you may be able to convince them to take a couple minutes of their day and go outside and look up. That's what it's truly about. And if we can, the more we can get people to go there, and it's not that hard. How difficult is it to go outside and look up? Hey, it's like that movie, Don't Look Up. We're trying to get you out of the government scheme of telling you don't go outside and look up. Don't look for this stuff because it's not there. We need to do it. It's our time.
Another semi-breaking news. I've seen this two places now and just popped up in the chat. According to YJ Overlander, Ryan at Post Disclosure is headlining Elizondo is coming forward with a 60 minutes interview. FF is happening.
Oh, wow. Good for Lou.
Sounds juicy.
Well, if he's breaking it there, hold on. Let me go ahead and check, see what's going on. I didn't kick the
YJ Overlander just posted a.
Oh, that's fine. Where's it at?
What is FF?
Good question.
Well, it's coming in right now. Yes, I can verify what you're saying is correct on the old printer. It's still printing it off. Yes, it is confirmed that. Well, son of a bitch, Lou Elizondo is going to be on a 60 Minutes interview. Holy cow, it's amazing how quickly information spreads, doesn't it? But sometimes on these older systems, they have to dial up and everything, But shoot up.
Those dot matrix printers sometimes take a little bit.
Hey, I have an Oahu Data 192 in great condition. Probably may not be as great condition as it used to be. If I could get a cartridge, I bet you would still print and make that wonderful noise. And I know I've got some boxes of I've got a fanfold paper with the little holes, but on top of that, I had a cut sheet feeder, much better. And that was more expensive than the printer back in the day. But either way, I digress.
There was somebody on Twitter saying that they're in direct contact with Norcom. Take this with a pinch of salt. It's from Twitter. And monitoring the latest issue over Montana airspace is close due to an object that could interfere with commercial air traffic. The DoD will resume efforts to observe and ground the object in the morning. And somebody's replied with, "We might be getting invaded by aliens, but we'll do it tomorrow."
It's more like, well, we know you've been here for thousands of years, so we'll be back to go. Hey, go looking. We'll be back to pick you up later. See ya. We need to get some more beauty
Basically,
sleep.
they've gone into the night staff and they go, "Do you want to deal with this, or should we wait for the morning shift?" It's like, I'll leave it. It'd be fine.
Just ask me to.
Google just said, asked me if he wanted me to help him decide if I should go to bed. Has anyone played with Chat GPT out there lately? Holy cow. It is, you're used to searching on Google because you want to find information, but all it does is send you to a whole bunch of poorly organized and designed websites to find the information that you need. But you can go to Chat GPT and ask for the information that you want. And Artie, get away from Cupcake's food. Get over here. Sorry.
That's very Spanish. I felt like we should have had a.
He's his Matador hat.
Yes, it's because I've got the Matador hat, Hey, I'm not doing the girl.
You need a red cape.
I know. I need the black on the outside like I'm Count Dracula, Yeah.
Oh, we got a super chat from West.
Oh, we got a super chat coming in. No way, did we? Thank you very much. Love it. There it is from W. Decker. Holy cow, he's in the chat. He's in the back. Yeah, and he's also got a freaking... Oh, where are we at? No, wrong one. No, we're not done yet. There we go. We got a super chat. This time coming in from, lo and behold, someone in the back of the chat. W. Decker, my God, how about a super chat train to thank Thomas and Gary for all their great coverage. Yes, for the man who always would say, I would gladly pay you Tuesday for the price of a hamburger today. We got to thank Gary for everything. You are the embodiment of...
You missed mine, Thomas. You missed my super chat. I don't know why.
No, I did, but I pointed it out
saw
to you,
it,
and I was
you were
pointing
talking,
like this, and I was going like that.
You were talking, and he was pointing at you while you were doing it.
Yeah, I was pointing out you were talking about this. Oh, yeah, let's go ahead and thank... Would you look at that? I want to thank W. Decker for that great super chat. Here we go. Mr. Catfish 2100 super chat time. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody. Yeah, we've been going a little bit longer than usual today to go ahead and keep this news day going. You know what? We've been ready for it. We've been practicing for it. We're here to go ahead and actually make your, information about, the phenomenon. We're serious about not being serious, but we're serious about having great production, having a great time, and trying to share as much information that's relevant as it's coming along. Thank you for W. Decker, Mr. Catfish 2100, and for the Larry Gert, who gave me one when he was talking, and I was trying to point to him saying thank you. I'll do it again.
I beg your pardon.
Thank you, Larry.
Larry gave you one.
Welcome.
Yeah, he did. I know.
While you were talking.
I know. That's when he was like raising his hand that he wanted to talk.
It must be loose because we never noticed you.
Saying hi in my gender dysphoric way.
Don't worry. It's wonderful, wonderful. Let's go to it. All right, where in the heck are we? Okay. It's been an interesting...
So since I'm on the screen, I'll say hello and goodbye, and thanks for a great show.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Larry.
Night, Larry.
Good night, Larry. Have a good one, my friend. Yes. I think we're...
Larry, it's great to see you.
Yeah. Actually, on that note, let me go ahead and jump back into the studio. Not that one. No, not there. There we go. W. Decker. Gary, thanks for all the help you've been doing today for bringing everything together. It's been a great show. Holy cow. We've been going for, what, 3 hours? Not bad. No.
Oop, here comes the super chat.
Oh, here comes the super chat train. Holy cow. There we go. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the support. Holy cow. This one coming in from John Zeidvogel. Thank you very much. And then as well as Captain Brian, all the info you need in one place. Thomas Rocks. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate we try to do everything we can and have a good one. It's difficult. Sometimes I've got a beautiful cupcake here with me, and you try to be everywhere you can. Sometimes you feel guilty for stepping up when you have to do it, and that's why we've been doing it for so long. Almost 600 episodes now of Disclosure Tonight. It's a great place for you to come and stop by. There's a phenomenal people off in the chat, phenomenal conversation. A lot of people have talked about that tonight. It's not just about us. It's about the viewers and everywhere else where we see this. That's why we have reach out with polls. And if you have an idea for a poll whenever we're watching it, do us a favor. Ask. We'll be more than happy to go ahead and throw it out there and ask the audience, because it's, as we're going through things, it's always good to know where do the people sit, because I'm behind the camera and I've got my idea of this one person here, but there's a whole bit large audience of people who have been doing this. Believe it or not, we've had over 7,005 people stop by today to go ahead and watch the show as it's been going on, as we still have about 503 people out in the audience as the audience starts to dip off. And on that note, let me go ahead and, I know there's a bunch of people and everything. Should I keep it going, or where are we at? I think we've kind of covered everything, haven't we, West?
Feels like it. If there's breaking news, we can always come back.
Oh, absolutely. We will be back. Absolutely. Make sure to subscribe, everybody. If you've been having a good time, we'd appreciate it. And as we get to this point, let me go ahead then and take a look at the music.
Hey, real quick before you start, let me put one more plug in for what you were saying earlier. Everybody, take a chance and go outside tonight. If you got a camera, bring it with you, but just look at the sky. It's beautiful anyway, but you never know. You might see something that could become the next breaking news. So pay attention.
Absolutely, absolutely. And as we get to it, I want to thank everybody who's, oh God, look at that. We got more super chats coming in at this point. Let me just go ahead and get that music up as I leverage into there. Holy cow. The wrong one. There we go. I got to switch them around. Well, either way. Lee is always on the left. All right. I want to thank Mr. Dennis Benke for another super chat to keep that super chat train going. I appreciate the freaking support and everything. A freaking diamond. Thank you. Absolutely, man. I appreciate that. And Wildcat Mahone, thank you very much, sir. Good job, Thomas. Actually, you know what? Since I'm here and I'm in this point and it's something that I like to do, I don't even have my glasses on for this one. I need to go into the properties for this chat capture for 1 second. I need to go back to, would you look at that, from Donald Honker. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Appreciate the super chat train coming on in to go ahead and help us keep this thing going. And every dollar that comes into Disclosure tonight goes back into the production fund one way or the other. We appreciate all your support and love for this broadcast. And you know what? For all the new people who have subscribed for tonight, welcome to the show. Welcome to the family. We've had a bunch of great people in chat. Haven't had a chance to go ahead and do that. I'm sure you've noticed a lot of people with wrenches out there. That's because we used to get hit by the trolls who were anti-disclosure and anti-Lou and everything. And while we try to stay in the center, we know there's great information from Lou that has always been around. And while he's been quiet from the whole live stream scene, great to see these actually trying to bring the message and keep it going in the area of, what do you call it? In the area of mass media, because that's where his strength is. Absolutely. A little bit safer there, too, some of these days. As I go ahead and thank Mr. Catfish again, a family for sure, Tom. You better believe it. I try to do my best. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's look at the supers we got in tonight. And I can go ahead and bring up a list and start thinking back. And everybody, I'd like to welcome all people.
And everybody, order your toilet roll now so that you get in before the panic.
Oh, yes. I like it. I like it. I like it. I want to thank Mr. Catfish 2100, Donald Honker, Wildcat Mahone, Dennis Benke, Captain Brian, Zeidvogel for all your support and everything today. Let's go on from there. Mr. Catfish 2100 again, W. Decker, Nikki X1, Mr. Catfish 2100, Larry Gurnt, Leland Joseph, Shelley Montgomery, Matthew Bullock, Dry Toast. Remember, 9 out of 10 aliens surveyed prefer dry toast when they consume their humans. Dry toast, it goes good with everything. Be sure to support Dry Toast. Florence Tracy, thanks, Mom. I'm sure you're asleep by now, but hopefully you'll catch up to the rest of the show on Team Rewatch. Mr. Catfish 2100 again. Nikki X1 again. Holy cow. And actually, Nikki started off the super chat today. Holy cow. But it's not just about the people who have given us some, if you want to call it, support during the show. It's actually about all the people who are in the chat and still in the chat right now. And who do we have out there? Let's go ahead and take a look and see. At Disclosure tonight, did all my friends... Oh, where in the hell did I do with the chat? Now, let me find you. You're lucky. Hold on. It's here somewhere. Put on my glasses and cross my eyes to find it, and it will pop up. Probably underneath the sound effects, isn't it? Where it was last time, it's not. I'll find it. Hold on. No, that's not it. It's got to be here. Ah, there it is. Would you look at that? Yes, get all the toilet paper. You better believe it. Did I have some more super chats coming in? No way. Did I miss some? No, I think I got them all. All right. For all the people that we still have in the chat right now, I'm going to go to live participants, and I want to thank actually the people we've got in the back before the people in the chat. Joseph Syracuse, thanks for coming out tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Andy W., my friend, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me as well. What a night.
I know. It non-stop, huh, buddy?
Yep. And see what's going to happen in the next few days.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see where it's going to happen. If it goes big again tomorrow, we'll be back. You know it. I want to say thanks to Larry Gert. Larry, quite contrary. That's Joseph, not Larry. Well, we know Larry's still there. That's all right. Syrup, my friend. Maple or Mrs. Butterworth's? Mrs. Butterworth's, for that matter. On the final one, Mr. W. Decker, West Decker, how the hell are you? Thanks for coming out tonight.
Hey, thank you, and thanks, Gary, again, for all your hard work and making this so great, and for this environment, and thanks to the chat and everybody else, too.
I'm just about to get to the chat, but yes, I want to thank Mr. Gary. Thank you, sir. I appreciate all your help you've been doing today. You are the Roz to I am the Professor Crane.
Fraser.
Well, Professor Crane, right? Dr. Crane, I'm sorry.
Doctor.
And I'm the patient who has to call in every time.
Please, you're Niles.
Oh, you gotta have some fun. But more importantly, I want to thank the people from the chat who have been still hanging out and talking for so long and having a great time. They've got their own song. Let's go ahead and see who the hell we have out there right now. I lost them again. Here we go. Let me go over to this and figure out who we have in the back still. Oh, I gotta... we've got Ack. Gary, thank you very much. Appreciate everything today. Adele and Mark are still around. Good evening, guys. I hope good to see you last time in the back. Hopefully your daughter will be around next weekend or whatever. Grandma made to make her happy. Good to see Adele as well. I mean, not Adele. Good to see Florence as well. Alex Seekins, Angela G, Avi M, Big Gains, must be a big lifter. Bones McCoy, Brandy Phillips. Brandy! They never told us what the 3 green hearts and 1 green frog meant, but we'll find out eventually. Anonymous Rex, also known as Tim Senor, Avi M, Bones, well, Cable Guy, Craig Williams, Kariti Banis, David Wartsky, Digger Dog, Donald Honker, Edmund 184, Electra RC, also known as Zach, Great Troll, Jackie Redford, Jake Samoy, Jimmy McKillop, Cell Phone Cinema, Kelly Barot, Kim Jellin, LM, Larry Schultz, last of the finest, Lex Diaz, Matthew Bullock, Mr. Catfish 2100, Mrs. Kelly, Owen from Ohio, Peggy and Crockett with Tubbs, Razmataz, Renee Cruz, Rican Havoc 215, Cito 412B, Shelly Montgomery, Super Crazy Movie Geek, W. Decker, Yellow Tommy Tankers, also known as Annie Azenzabil. Now remember, we had that link that's at the top of the chat over there. If you want to stop by after the show off the air, a little bit more comfortable, want to say hi, go ahead. Remember to follow that link. And as we usually say at the end of every one of our broadcasts, mark the truth searcher. I see that you're there. And potentially, who else had popped in? Margaret, Peggy, and Crockett and Tubbs. Everybody, you have a great evening. And as we usually say at the end of every one of our broadcasts, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone.
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon. Love you.